Good afternoon and welcome, everybody. This would be the Jeff Cameron Show right here on 97.9 ESPN Radio. Fine Balls McWednesday to you and yours. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming. Free always. Don't miss anything. Sometimes your life gets busy and you miss things, and you say, well, I wish I could have heard that. In this case, you're in luck. We post all 3 hours both on iTunes and in our own audio vault upon the conclusion of the show every day. So you can find it that way. You can also use the WTSM app on your phone. Doesn't matter if that phone's an Android or iPhone. You can use our free WTSM app. Go to the App Store, download it now, and listen in. That also works, by the way, if you're having problems with Tropos. Tom, you could just bypass it a little bit there if there's a Tropos issue. And be able to listen without little glitches and things.
It's like a little VIP pass.
It is just like that. And it also has the archived audio, so you can find it there. Email us if you like, jcs@979espnradio.com. Find me on Twitter @JCameronShow. WTSM app, as I just mentioned, good. We're on YouTube. If you want to watch us perform the show, go to YouTube, type in ESPN Tallahassee that way. And if you follow the ESPN Tallahassee or 97.9 Twitter feed, you'll see that we're also periscoping the show. So that's another means by which to watch and follow along.
At 979 ESPN Radio.
There it is.
There it is.
That's that one. All right, so you just heard the National Sports Center, which featured a local story here, and one that, simply put, appears to be very much of the he said, she said variety. I know a lot of times people will tune in to this show or anything after an incident like this or a report of an incident and think that we're going to have some sort of keen insight perhaps or strong opinions about an issue or an event, alleged or not. But this isn't one of those, because all you can do is go by what you read in the police report and give people the facts. And I always want to be very careful. I want to be very careful about doing that, especially when it's involving something as sensitive as this and as important as this. Florida State quarterback DeAndre Francois was interviewed by police. He has not been charged with a crime after a verbal altercation with his girlfriend turned physical, according to her, and that according to a Tallahassee Police Department incident report. And that report was released earlier this afternoon, lunchtime this afternoon, and it stated that the police were called to the home by DeAndre Francois after he and his girlfriend had an argument. And apparently he was trying to remove her from the house because she was beginning to, according to DeAndre Francois, break items in the home. They'd gotten angry with each other, and it was a verbal dispute. And he said he was relaxing, hanging out with his teammate, Zaquandre White. She came home. They had a previous argument. He asked her to leave the house, according to him, and she didn't and began to break things. He says she threw a vase across the room, a vase, if you will. And at that point, he was trying to remove her from the premises. He states that he wrapped his arms around her the way you would, like a hug, only obviously forcibly, and to try to keep her from damaging more items in the home and to kind of pick her up and remove her from the house. But when he let go, she began to try to swing at him and punch at him, according to DeAndre Francois. He requested that the police that arrived take photographs of the scene, did DeAndre Francois. He wanted to document the damaged property. The police did take pictures, and that's according to the report. The girlfriend's not named in the report, and she gave a different account. She said that she did not want to press charges against him, but her different version of the event is that it had what they were arguing about, and that at some point he broke down the door to the bedroom and picked her up and threw her to the ground.
Trying to get her out of the house, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, the difference
She
here,
says it caused a cut on her forearm.
Yes, that as he was trying to remove her from the house, that's how she got cut. He says as she was breaking things, that's how she cut her arm.
Right.
And her account states that he broke the door down at one point to his room, and his accounts state, as I understand them again, that she had locked herself in his room to break his television.
Right.
So
we don't know what happened.
It sounds like, yeah, there was a door busted down and some damage to property at the residence. The nature of how it started and how a cut got on her arm and whether or not she was tossed to the ground, it's hard to know because it's a he said, she said. And this is the time, I think, where it's appropriate for all of us to say if he's guilty of something of this nature, you can't have him around your program.
Well, no, this is obvious and straightforward. And just, yes, I know why you do it because we always need to clarify for those that are dim-witted. Clearly, if he committed any act of violence or harmed her in some way by being violent towards her, no, you can't, and you hope justice is served. But if he didn't, and there's a chance that that's true too, and we don't know, so that's why you phrase this as an alleged incident and a he said, she said incident, and at this time that is an open/inactive case. Jack Campbell telling the Tallahassee Democrat today that. And also I asked some police officer friends of mine about the standard and what you would need to be able to arrest an individual in a domestic like this.
Yeah, a few details, one of which you're about to expand on. There is a potential pregnancy for the girl in this case, too. That
maybe. This is under dispute.
That she told him she was, at the very least. I think that's agreed upon.
She said she was pregnant. He disputed his girlfriend's account about the cut and amongst other things, including the pregnancy.
They had been living together for several months. She had moved in with him. They've been living together for several months. And then also, he made the call, as you stated before. He made the call to the police.
Yes.
And then
there's only one witness to any of this, and again, that's his teammate.
And he was not charged or taken away. And that's the interesting thing, because in situations like this, if you've seen or read any transcripts of any police reports or seen, cops or something along those lines, the cops will take somebody away.
You have to be able to prove an incident happened, and you have to be able to prove or find a primary aggressor. Clearly they could not, and thus he was not arrested. If you're asking my opinion about what's going to happen here, the answer is nothing. Nothing is going to happen here. My opinion,
legally,
based on what I've read and heard up to this point, my opinion is that this is going to go away by 6 o'clock tonight, and not because it's being swept under the rug, but because there's just simply not enough there either way to arrest her or to arrest him. And no charges have been filed unless there's some other witness. I mean, you just noted it, that the officer or officers at the scene, I'm not a police officer, I'm not pretending to be one, but I'm just judging from what I read of the incident report and having reached out to a couple police officers today to get their account as to what would be happening legally in this. The way I understand this is that if the responding officers did not find the standard was met to press charges and or to arrest an individual here, I don't know what they're going to go back to find moving forward. What's going to happen from here? I mean, you have the report that is written. You have the two sides having given two very different accounts as to what occurred. You have an eyewitness who sides with DeAndre Francois and says that the only time DeAndre put his hands on his girlfriend was in an attempt to remove her from the premises and to keep her from swinging on him. That's again what the only witness at the of the incident says. Unless another witness comes forward, Tom, what could happen that would change the status of this situation?
I don't know. And the most important things to me, obviously, when it comes to what is the truth and something we could never know.
The truth is the most important thing, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to do it. Only those three individuals know what happened.
The nature of a cut on this young lady's arm, how to get there, number one. And number two, how do you reconcile the idea that he is the one who called the police with the fact that she is on record in the report saying that she didn't want DeAndre to get in trouble, in quote-unquote, meaning she didn't want to press charges. She just wanted the police to scare him a little. How do you reconcile the fact that he's the one who summoned the police to the residence and then?
Well, we're going to go down this road to where all of us have an opinion on what we're reading and what we're piecing together, right? Like we play that role where you don the detective cap. Right now, it looks like nothing's going to happen to DeAndre Francois because it doesn't look like anything should happen to DeAndre Francois. But I don't know what happened, and I don't like playing that game. It is a very sensitive issue. We know you have to be very careful about stating emphatically one way or the other what you think in these situations. I don't know what occurred short of seeing video or having a different witness account.
Yeah.
All I can glean from that report in reading what those two individuals said and the facts of the case as we know them sit now is that it sounds like, obviously, a really ugly scene in which two people have come to an end in a relationship, and it's not pretty. It's volatile, and something turned a little uglier than it needed to. Thankfully, neither party seems to be hurt at all. And let's hope this all gets worked out for the two of them, and let's hope this gets resolved safely. Obviously, it stands to reason that if he did something or she did something, either way, if one of them assaulted the other, you would want their justice to be done. But it doesn't sound like there's much here that's going to change the status of this case. That is to say, it doesn't look like either one of them is going to get in trouble.
I agree. And if it sounded like a couple of minutes ago I was leaning towards one thing, I don't know. I honestly don't know. And if any, the last few years of covering this program,
well, we've learned a lot about
you,
media in general.
Right, and how media presents such things. But to me, I'm just telling you what the most curious things are between the two stories and the inconsistencies of the two stories. Will we know the truth of? I mean, I doubt it. I doubt you will. But there's no doubt that this boils down to, from a legal standpoint, an impasse. You're at an impasse. There's nothing. So what do you do
I found it
if you're the program? You know what I mean?
Well, you can't do anything.
You can't because he might not be in the wrong.
He may not have done anything wrong. He may have done everything wrong. I don't know, but I know this, that you can't go around kicking people out of the off the team or out of the program if you don't have certifiable facts about an incident. If that's the reason that you're removing them from the program. I mean, you could, but it's a good way to lose the confidence of all of the players that you recruit and everybody else on that team. And it's also completely unfair, and I think it opens you to a legal response. That's if he didn't do anything.
Right.
I mean, and if he did, now I have said before that as a head coach, obviously not everything involves the law. I mean, you can cite any number of things as reasons why you want a guy no longer involved in your program. You could, if a guy is a problem in the locker room, if a guy is alleged to have had any number of transgressions that weren't necessarily provable in a court of law and he hadn't been charged, but you had enough circumstantial evidence and reports from people on the team that player A is acting like this and may have done some things that are unseemly, well, at some point you can go in and say it's not about the law. It's not about whether or not I could prove in court you did these things. I don't want you around my program. I think you're a bad influence on the other players, and I would like you to leave. I think it's best for both parties if you transfer. You can kick guys off a team for any number of things that don't involve being able to prove that they did something illegal. But again, we get into wild speculation when we start doing that, and it's a little unfair to all parties involved. So all I can do at the start of a show like this, where you begin to hear rumors this afternoon, and then it boils to this point when we come on the air, people want answers. What happened? What did he do? What did she do? Who's guilty here? Are they going to keep him on the team? Should they keep him on the team? What's Willie Taggart's response? I mean, I don't know. I don't know what happened. I've read the incident report. I've called around. I've done my due diligence before coming on the air, at least to have a pretty good understanding of what facts are there. And they tell me that in all likelihood, my opinion is nothing's going to become of this short of somebody else stepping forward and saying, hey, I saw the incident, by the way, and it's not like he says. Short of that.
Or a revision from Zaquandre White or something like that.
Right.
But if you're Willie Taggart, and again, to get into the recommendation business of what you should do is a little dangerous, but I think common sense dictates that you're going to
sit him down in your office and you're going to have a lengthy discussion.
Yes, you're also going to sit Zaquandre down and ask him what he saw, separate of DeAndre.
Sure.
Most certainly. And then you're also going to talk to people who know DeAndre from before I arrived here, if I'm Willie Taggart, and let's get a gauge on this type of thing.
Who is this kid?
Lend me context.
What's that relationship like?
Yes.
Yeah, of course. And you'll talk to her, too. I mean, you would.
Yeah,
I think you would.
absolutely.
I think I would.
Yeah.
I think if I were the head coach, I think I would.
Yeah.
I'd want to talk to all parties involved, come up with my own.
Yeah. It's too important of an issue
synopsis
to not just go by and say, well, we're at a legal impasse here, so we're going to move on.
Well, and you've got to be very sensitive of it for the right reasons. That much is very clear. But also, frankly, you are always aware about the perception of your program. You're always aware of the status of these players, that program, who you are. All of this is under your watch now, so you're going to want to be treading very carefully. But as of right now, again, there is no charge being filed. It was DeAndre Francois who called the police. That is an important detail. And again, his side of things is very different than her side of things. So we have a classic he said, she said. We don't know what happened. We know what the police didn't do, which is they did not file charges as of now. They did not arrest anybody at the scene. Not him, not her, not anybody. Basketball game tonight. Much more pleasant conversation, one to get to momentarily on the Jeff Cameron Show.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest
with features like Wi-Fi calling and our desktop app. Set up your account in minutes with no long-term contracts and 24/7 customer support. Make your small business big. Now get $20 off your first month when you visit grasshopper.com/radio. That's grasshopper.com/radio.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get you back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 833-4-DRDELAY. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay.
Ah, the perfect lunch spot. A nearly impossible find. Thankfully for Tallahassee, we have Metro Deli. A downtown gem for over 15 years, Metro Deli is locally owned and features the best deli meats, cheeses, breads, and ingredients in the city. Enjoy daily specials and soups, salads and wraps. There's something for everyone. Metro Deli offers online ordering for pickup or delivery and will cater your office breakfast or lunch too. Tallahassee's perfect lunch spot is Metro Deli. MetroDeliTally.com. That's MetroDeliTally.com.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, 'cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe.
Hey, this is Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. No one besides us wants to hear that you need a new roof. It's one of the biggest home improvements you have to make, and Parker Brothers Roofing understands. We now offer financing for 0% over 60 months. Yes, that's 5 years. Call us today for 5 years interest-free financing on that new roof. 656-8112. That's 656-8112, or go to parkerbrothersroofing.net.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number CCC 049350.
If you're a small business, first impressions can make all the difference. With Grasshopper, you get all the features of a professional business phone system on your mobile phone. Choose a business phone number, make calls, and send texts. Stay connected and work from anywhere with features like Wi-Fi calling and our desktop app. Set up your account in minutes with no long-term contracts and 24/7 customer support. Make your small business big. Now get $20 off your first month when you visit grasshopper.com/radio. That's grasshopper.com/radio.
Woohoo! Banditos!
Huh? Where?
Banditos burritos, baby.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
(14-5), soon to be 15-5. Damn it, it's the TLC Double C. Let's get back to some winning ways at the Hizzy. Don't just roll on into the TLC Double C and expect to walk away with a victory, Georgia Tech. No, especially not you. 10-9, 3-3 as you are. 7 o'clock tip, ACC Network broadcast that's going to be shown locally on Fox Sports Florida. That'd be 4:01 if you're unable to attend tonight's game. Comcast cable channel 401.
All right.
And or 29, I suppose, if you're still meddling about with the non-HD stuff.
I like that for a change, because the last couple of ones when we were at the ESPN Tallahassee Corner Pocket Bar and Grill Executive Suite,
What a vista.
We didn't have it on the television itself. It was just a closed circuit.
Just closed circuit.
But I want the TV feed so that if you see something, you can go back to the television screen and watch it on replay.
Especially a little questionable something.
Exactly.
Let's take a double look at that.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about what just happened here
I'm gonna
before
look up
my
here
eyes.
in the suite and see the replays.
Yes,
What I'm going to do
that's what I'll do.
between bites of some food and a beer.
Oh, is that a fresh beer?
Nice.
I will. Thank you very
I'll
much.
partake of that. FSU does lead the all-time series between these two teams, 39-29. You know, I like reading that because, Tom, it's not too frequent that I'm able to pull up stats regarding Florida State basketball in the ACC and see that we have an all-time winning record against a foe, and a sizable one at that. Series dates back to 1963, including 10 straight wins between 2008 and 2015, where when they saw us coming, they had to limber up. Because of ACC expansion and the resulting unbalanced schedule, the Noles have faced Georgia Tech only once per season since 2011, despite the fact that they are FSU's closest rival in terms of distance. And this is the very thing that people bitch about in football, that we ought to be reorganizing. It's time to reorganize.
I'd miss those days.
This is what happens when we're not organized.
That was when we were on the way up.
Oh, that was when we were on the way up, and he was mad at practice.
And you know what's crazy is we were actually practicing on the old IM fields for that camp.
Yeah.
No facilities, and yet just climbing
Just
that
dominating
ladder.
without facilities.
Yeah.
Like BC did that game this year, earlier
That's
this
right.
season.
Yeah.
No facilities, pure domination. So since FSU has joined the ACC, we are 25-19 against the Yellow Jackets. In those 44 games in the ACC, 21 have been decided by 4 points or less. Close games with these guys, these bastards. Always with the close game. There was a stretch where we had a ton of them. 32 of those games were by 10 points or less. I remember every time we played Georgia Tech, it's like, always with this nonsense. It's coming down to the final possession. Let's hope tonight is not that night. Tonight, or like those nights. Tonight is rather, good God, Georgia Tech, you are down 38 with 7 to play. This is unseemly. That's the kind of night I'm hoping for.
I thought what Virginia did last night was bad.
I'm going to bring it up momentarily because Clemson disband the program. Good God Almighty! That's either small children playing or we're taking it back to the Peach Baskets. Oh, it was ridiculous. Oh. For those that don't know, you'll know momentarily. One of those games went to double overtime that we had with Georgia Tech. The Yellow Jackets won that one in 1999. That's a national championship season around these parts for the football team. 111-108, February 11th in Tallahassee. 30 points from the 7-footer Jason Collier, who subsequently apparently took an ass beating at the Palace after this game.
Oh, really?
Legendary story. Yeah, it was a football week, and when the Jackets visited Doak Campbell later on, it wasn't after this game, but he later on visited and took a beating.
You don't get loose at the Palace, man.
You can't get loose at the Palace.
Unless you're wearing garnet and gold, then you can have a good time. But
we don't live over there anymore, and we're not on campus on a regular basis, and we're much further removed from a time in which we would say, hey, let's take it to the Palace.
Yeah.
But what I will ask you is, the Palace still thriving? Because it would warm the heart to know that it is.
I would think it is.
I believe I can pinpoint the last time you were ever in the Palace.
You can.
Our friend Jim Lamar,
Yeah.
legend around these parts, as you were a young buck on the scene covering the team, bought you a few beers.
He did. No, he like a G.
That's who Jim Lamar is.
Like a G. I came in, hung out with him for about a half an hour. He didn't hardly know me, but knew who I was working with.
I like that he was at the Palace, I might add.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. He was at the Palace. It was only 6 o'clock, something like that.
Yeah, early in the day.
So he had to be, not in the morning. So yeah, it was on a football Saturday. They were done. He was done with what he needed to do.
It was a Wednesday at noon.
He left because he got an email about editing, so he had to go and he had to edit something. But when he left, he told the tender, the barkeep.
Yeah, he said, barkeep.
Excuse me, sir.
Another meat con, please.
Allow this man to have the next 3 or 4 beverages of his choice right on this card, and then you close it out.
3 to 4.
Yeah.
I would have pushed the envelope, Sparky. I'd have gotten that 4th.
Listen, man.
Would have been 3.
I was like an intern.
He would have
This
known
guy's
that.
been in the industry for, you know, a long, long time.
46 years.
Yeah, pretty much.
Unbelievable.
Saw somebody get their butt kicked at the Palace.
Everybody has.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's seen it at the very least. With the Noles winning the last 5 of the 6 meetings here against Georgia Tech, Leonard Hamilton has a 14-9 career record against the Jackets.
But this was during the day. It was around noon, and it happened.
It will.
Yeah.
It will happen.
Oh, as a Florida fan, as you might imagine. Started to get a little mouthy.
Mouthy at the Palace equals ass beating coming.
Was warned and continued and persisted and was not in the bag. He was just being a jerk. And
Shocking.
Right, and he went out the side door, the one that faces Doak. You know?
And that can happen.
Went out the side door after it was all over.
That can happen. That's the way it works around these parts. Well, you wouldn't go to Gainesville and go down University Ave and walk into the famed Purple Porpoise as a Nole and begin spouting off.
Yeah.
That's what would happen to
and
you.
he got it was a gentlemanly warning. Hey, man, listen.
Yo, dude.
All right,
what's
we get
wrong
it.
with you?
You guys are good right now, but, you know.
Is what you're doing, huh?
You don't want to do that around here.
No, don't want to.
Allow me to persist, is what he said.
And then it did. It's the same as when I went out to the Florida State-Colorado game, and it's Florida State versus Colorado. Once again, I reiterate, it's Florida State versus Colorado, and inexplicably, as I got up to go to the concession stand, I see a man in a Florida Gator shirt with blue pants, talking to Florida State fans about Florida State football not being on par with Florida at a Florida State-Colorado game. Again, you're looking to take an ass beating. You're looking to start a fight. You're provoking the situation. He continued to do so. I saw him get surrounded, and I thought, oh, man.
Yeah.
Man, I want to help you, but I can't help you here.
This is what you've
I
done.
don't like to see people treated poorly or violently, but I think it's going to happen, and it kind of has to happen now. And you've done that to yourself, and what am I to do? I'm inclined in the moment to break this up and let you go on your way, but I can't do that. You did this.
What did you think was going to happen?
Right. Several people said that after he got slapped. He was slapped in the face.
Just slapped.
Humiliatingly, he was open hand slapped.
Oh, my.
Open hand slapped.
Man,
that's a toughie.
Don't be stupid.
There it is. Life lesson. So let's get back to the game. Georgia Tech is currently riding a 2-game win streak tonight, Tom. We can't have that. Beat us 2 in a row.
Counts for almost 20% of their wins.
No, I mean, it's a 2-game win streak in the series.
Yeah, they've got it on the season.
This has to end.
Oh, my.
This aggression will not stand. 2 straight wins by this Georgia Tech program over Florida State. Do you remember, and we were talking about this the other day, the ungodly game in which we just did not bother to show up at all.
That was up there, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh, no. The one from here. Sorry, 2 years ago.
The one up there was really bad. It wasn't that the 22-4 run they went on. It was 41-15.
Yeah.
At the break.
Yes, I can remember that one.
We were at the 7th Hill, weren't we?
That could be true.
I think that's accurate.
Yeah, I think that's accurate. But there was the one here where we had no reason not to show up because our tournament life was on the line.
Yes,
and
they were 13-12 at the time.
Yeah, it was the senior season for one Devin Booker, and he wanted to go play in the NCAA tournament.
We lost the game 86-80.
Yeah, because we only came back late.
Very late. We went on a charge. We were getting killed. We were almost losing by 20 in the second half, and we came charging back out of sheer desperation. But that was ridiculous because this is a Georgia Tech team who a year ago finished 21-16. They were sub 500 in the ACC. They did make a run in the NIT. You give them credit. They're not devoid of talent. But they're not a great team in this league, and they are a team, frankly, that if you're any good and you expect to make the NCAA tournament and you're playing at home tonight against, you should beat, period. There's no need to sugarcoat this. Florida State ought to win tonight's basketball game, get to 500 in the ACC, get to 15-5 on the season, which has a nice ring to it, and puts them in a position over the weekend, which is a big basketball weekend in Tallahassee, with Florida State taking on rival Miami, whom obviously vanquished the Noles earlier this year down in Miami, a chance for revenge, a chance to get over 500, a home game. You always want to protect home court. You do that on a Saturday. You turn right around on a Sunday. For only $1, you go see the Florida State women, who are having a fine season, coming off a big win over number 2 ranked Louisville, who was undefeated at the time, now taking on a top 10 Notre Dame team. So Florida State obviously is looking for this week to be big in the realm of basketball, both in the men's program and women's program. So it's an exciting time.
So let's set the stage by winning tonight and setting
the weekend up for goodness.
For a back-to-back on a Saturday, Sunday. WW.
I like it. I love it. And you know what starts Friday? Florida State baseball practice. Damn, these are good times, sir. Getting us through. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys.
Records on the track in both the 100 and 300 meter hurdles as well. In the classroom, Maddie Powell commands a perfect 4.0 unweighted GPA while taking a full slate of AP and honors classes, all while being involved in the community. Maddie has worked at the Leon Humane Society for over 3 years, served as a Special Olympics partner in soccer, softball, and track and field, and she's logged over 200 hours of service time with the Leon Lions United program. As January's female winner of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac High School Scholar Athlete of the Month, Leon's Maddie Powell is now qualified as a finalist for the $2,500 end-of-the-year scholarship. To support the folks at Dale Jr., check them out on the corner of Capitol Circle Northeast and Miccosukee, or by visiting online at Dale Earnhardt Jr. BuickGMCCadillac.com.
Roberts Elementary School is proud to host the 9th annual Trent Trot in honor of Trent McElroy, a Roberts 4th grader who lost his battle to childhood cancer in 2013. All proceeds from the race go to the Trent's Touch Foundation, which support local families battling pediatric cancer. This race is a longtime community favorite and is being held at Roberts Elementary School on January 27, 2018. You can register online, go to Facebook, type in 2018 Trent Trot. Support this race and help a local child leave cancer in the dust.
Here's a love story between a restaurant and its city, and the people of its city. For 45 years, Andrews has been serving up great food, great fun, and great memories in the heart of Tallahassee. Today, Andrews is better than ever, with an all-new look, Tallahassee's original Sunday brunch, a new outdoor pergola, and an incredible happy hour. All to bring the best of the best to you. Come make memories at Andrews, better than ever.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Start your new year off right with all the DeWalt deals at Cornerstone Tool & Fastener. The store that brought you your build-your-own kit is taking it to the next level. Buy any, and we mean any, DeWalt Bear tool and receive a free, on-the-spot, 4-amp-hour lithium battery. No mail-ins, no gimmicks, on the spot. Also, check out DeWalt's Impact Hammer Drill Kit and get a free tool promotion exclusively at Cornerstone Tool & Fastener. Cornerstone Tool & Fastener is also your home for OSHA-compliant dust solutions for all your concrete needs. 2 locations to choose from, 1110 Stuckey Avenue and 3269 Crawfordville Highway. Tallahassee location open on Saturday, 8 a.m. to noon.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Kevin Winter. A story we continue to follow on Sports Center. Disgraced former Michigan State and Team USA Dr. Larry Nassar has been sentenced to 40 to 175 years in prison, all part of his plea deal on multiple counts of sexual abuse. This after 7 days of victim impact statements read by more than 150 women. Judge Rosemarie Acalina handed down the sentence and told Nassar, quote, "I just signed your death warrant." She also told Nassar, "You don't ever deserve to walk outside of a prison again because everywhere you go, destruction will occur." Now, more fallout. First, last night, the NCAA informed Michigan State University they're opening an investigation as to whether any violations occurred in their dealings with Nassar. And shortly after the sentencing was handed down today, the CEO of the United States Olympic Committee called for all current USA Gymnastics directors to resign in the wake of sentencing. Tallahassee police responding to an alleged domestic violence incident involving Florida State quarterback DeAndre Francois. No charges have been filed.
To win in basketball, you got to play great coverage. And with Straight Talk Wireless, you know you're getting great coverage because they use the exact same 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a lot less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio. Hope you are well. If you want an update again, we addressed the situation regarding DeAndre Francois at the beginning of the show. I'll do it again at the beginning of the 4 o'clock hour. Not going to spend each hour, all hour, especially as no charges have been filed. And we have a he said, she said speaking on that issue. But anyhow, we will readdress it fresh each hour of the program. Just so for those of you hopping in the car, perhaps turning on the terrestrial radio, saying, "What's going on here?" what is happening? What are these rumors that I am hearing of, and what are we to think of all of this? Let's get back to this. I am curious. It's kind of funny. Yesterday, Tom, we talked both on Seminole Headlines and in the first hour of the program about expectations and enthusiasm centered around Florida State football. I reached out to a couple people, and this is an update sort of portion of that, close to recruiting situations and those that cover it for a living. Obviously, we have our friends at War Chant. We're friends with really everybody in that field who work covering Florida State recruiting. I'm happy to say that I'm friends with everybody in that field. I get along with everybody. They're not direct competition for us. It's not our thing, right? But I call out, and I get a feel from all of them collectively, if you will. Where are you at with this? What do you think Florida State's, like I said, a class is going to look like, and what, whereabouts in the rankings? And, oh, by the way, in terms of filling out the rest of the class, are grabbing guys that we need, that we like, a little bit of both? Are you filling some spots because you're in a pinch, or did you really evaluate the player and say he's a high caliber guy? And the answer, the overwhelming answer here is that Willie and his staff have done a very good job. We'll see just how good. Recruiting rankings oftentimes have the idea behind them is much more about hey, listen, let's see what these guys are doing 3 years down the road. But at least initially, it appears that most believe Willie and his staff are going to be able to haul a top 15 class, which go back a ways, go back to when it was all dissolving, and it looked dire. We thought recruiting ranking near the 60s at one point, and a new coach coming in trying to hire a new staff during an early signing period where initially we learned a lot of teams who had a solid foundation, a lot of staffs who were staying together and were coming off of successful campaigns, were in a prime position to cash in the early signing period and really get the vast majority of their class signed now. Proved at the time we thought to be potentially disastrous for Florida State going through this kind of a transition, both in coaching and obviously the need to try to bring together a staff and also somehow salvage something of a recruiting class. That if he could somehow get it inside the top 25, top 20, you'd be pleased. I'm hearing more and more that it's definitely going to be a top 20 class, probably a top 15 class, and that the class itself is filled with quality. So that's good news. Again, I won't laud him and go crazy over this just yet. You got to see how these players play. You got to find out what that class does look like when it's all said and done. But generally speaking, surface level stuff here, taking a cursory glance before signing day, things look good.
Yeah, I agree. I'm in the same camp you are. Whatever you can get, if it's quality, get it this year. And if that means that you're only going to take 18, then take 18. If that means 15, if it means 21, I don't care. Just somebody that fits. Don't drop down to a lower level or caliber of player because you're going to have attrition. We talked about this last week where I said, okay, well, I guess they want to expand some of these 3 stars they're looking at, but apparently not. In reading a little bit more over the weekend, from the experts who have been around for 10, 15 years, they're crunching the data on tape to see if somebody's a fit. Not if they're just a body to help, with the count of players in case there's attrition on top of all the players leaving for the draft this year. So to me, it's do the best you can between now and signing day. 2019 is supposed to be the class of reckoning. This is the one where they're going to put all their eggs in that basket as soon as this thing's over, and they're going to make a statement about who they are as a staff and make a mark on the state. It's a salvage job this year that perhaps they can move up 25 spots with a salvage job. That's wonderful, but I want to see how you recruit the trenches next year. Now, that's going to be really, really important because now that you're at this level, Coach Taggart and staff, can you haul the top-level D tackles, defensive ends, guards, offensive tackles in the country so you can compete in the trenches because we see it in the playoff.
Championships are always, with rare exception, won by the dominant teams at the line of scrimmage. It's the offensive and defensive lines. If those battles are largely even, say the Alabama-Georgia game or games like it where the quality of depth and talent of those positions are relatively equal, and they're going to win their fair share and you're going to win your fair share, then it gets down to the quality and experience of your skill position players, the sexy players that everybody gets drawn in by at wide receiver, running back, linebacker, corner, quarterback, of course. But you're exactly right to say that the initial recruiting uptick that you want to see and the dominance you want to move forward with is in your ability to bring in offensive and defensive linemen.
Yeah, and who are we going to recruit as offensive linemen? Because, again, it may not be the kid who's 6'3", 230 as a guard or something along those lines. Maybe you want somebody more nimble because that's going to be our scheme, or maybe you want power. That's one question for the next time Willie comes on. I'd just like to hear an answer about their philosophy and how they're going to recruit offensive line. Defensive line kind of speaks for itself. The top kids are the top kids, and everybody wants the top kids. 3-man front, 4-man front, they'll make it work if they can get the most out of a defensive line. But offensive line, there can be a little bit of nuance there. So I want to see how they recruit those positions. People, again, who have been around this business, especially here in Tallahassee, covering the recruiting game for 10 years, 15 years or more, they say, watch out. Watch.
For 2019.
Here's what's coming. Because these guys they don't stop. They're relentless recruiters.
And they're young.
So I'm not going to judge them on this one. The fact that they get a safety or a linebacker or 4 receivers or 3 corners, whatever it is, it gets us to a nice number that we feel a lot better about. But it's about next year when you can instill your philosophy and then you can draw out of the map and divide who goes where. Now what do you do?
It's not a deep class for defensive tackles this year. It's a good thing that you signed a good group a year ago at that position. Florida State's going to be thin right now at defensive end. You'll look for transfers and junior college kids and things like that. But I do know in terms of the secondary, Florida State has absolutely hit it out of the park. That's one area that they have dominated in terms of recruiting. They've got elite player after elite player in that secondary. Offensively, again, you do study and look at things like the offensive line and areas of need. I think there's areas of need there, but do you have enough quality wide receivers and an elite player at running back and a depth at running back that, frankly, I think will be relieved if in this group we see something of an uptick off the edges, maybe find a couple of players here between now and the start of the season, transfers, whatever it might be. That's an area where you have real concern. So I'll be closely watching that. And then I always, you know me, I'm always watching offensive line. I mean, you can't have enough of those guys.
Right. And once again, not to be a broken record, but what's your philosophy in that area and how are you going to coach it? I mean,
big badasses.
Well, sure, but I get that, Fry has a good track record. Michigan did things a little differently than West Virginia did, which is someplace he's always or has also been. And then Willie's been in different spots in the country where you can recruit different types of talent because of the prestige of your program. So now that you're here and you can have your pick, at least in theory, of the best of the best, which direction are we going to go? It's fun to see them hitting the pavement all over the country right now, though. You're reading reports of where they are.
In Tampa.
Yeah, it looks like there's an assault on Tampa today, which is nice. That would be a big change from yesteryear.
We have failed for years to be able to grab kids out of Tampa to the level that I suspect we should be able to. They're at Armwood, and I've mentioned Armwood numerous times.
Right.
Yes.
And, of course, there's the hashtag of West Coast Knowles or West Side Knowles or whatever they are. Because there's a trend with Willie's connections that he formed out on the West that, he can still go to a high school over there and perhaps pull a kid across the country. I don't want to live on California recruiting as a pipeline. Sometimes the difference in culture is different enough that, you would rather have a Southeast kid than a West Coast kid.
We've had some swings and misses from the West Coast.
Yeah, our history suggests.
Yeah. That's so you're a little sheepish. That's not to say there aren't great players there. That's
right.
for sure.
Again, you're learning two different lessons. Like the lesson for this one is how much can Willie do when he's scrambling to have to do something? That's what this is.
That's the next conversation that's going to be a lot of fun to have with him too, by the way, is again wanting to go through this process after he gets an opportunity to exhale. Staff in place, signing class in place. Okay, I can breathe, I can get my wits about me, and I can talk to you at length about, hey, here's what that was like. This was the process. Here's what we want to instill. Here's what I'm hoping to be able to gather over the next few weeks before we enter into the time where we build up towards spring.
When you were listing wide receivers, that's not an area of concern for you this year? Because for me, I'd like to get at least one or two that, again, we're looking at an offense that likes freshman receivers. So if you can find a blue chip or one or two of them for depth purposes to go along with the inconsistencies of both Keith Gavin and Nooney Murray, for different reasons, of course. But I'd like to have some competition there because now this is a different program in that sense. If you have some blue chippers coming in as freshmen, they're putting pressure on the veterans right away.
The most excited folks on that roster should be a guy like Nyquan Murray and Keith Gavin. This is going to – and DJ Matthews, who you got to see at the end of the year, and you know what a playmaker he can be.
The funny thing is I feel like you could pencil into the starting, he's
going to be great.
The 2D more so than the other two receivers because he'll operate anywhere you want to put him, and he is dynamic.
That's going to be fun, man. I mean, I'd like to obviously add to the ledger there at wide receiver, but watching guys like DJ Matthews and Tamaron Terry, who you know is a talent and you love that body type, and you put him together with a guy like Nyquan Murray, who I think will be motivated, obviously, very motivated to put together a big season, and he's going to be asked to do less in terms of complicated.
Sure.
He's going to have a big season. Keith Gavin, Keith Gavin could be a first-round pick. Keith Gavin is a guy that, obviously, with that body type, people will drool at. Now, the production's got to be there. You got to see the production. We haven't. So that's obviously very exciting.
I know it doesn't matter anymore because he's not a part of the staff, but a footnote in Lawrence Dossie's tenure should be Auden Tate. He developed when he was here. Tate was raw, talent-wise, and with the details of body control, how to high point the football, how reliable he could be in his route running. And then this year, he was where you needed him to be all the time.
He was as dependable as we've had a receiver be since Rashad Green, which is crazy. I mean, he was that good. He was, when in doubt, if you were banking on a big play, had to have a catch, had to have a touchdown, certainly, it was that guy at all times.
I know we talked about him on this year's program as somebody who was going to be a consistent performer, heading into the season. But it was all about Gavin. It was all about Nooney. When you're talking about the conversation as a whole, it was not really about Tate, but you could see it, the development and the polish on his game, and that's something that hopefully Gavin at least picked up some of.
Keith Gavin will be just
left.
fine. I think he's going to be good, but I've been saying that since the day he signed, and I love him, and I just hope he can stay healthy and get out there because the body will take care of the rest. Here's the deal: the guy that will have the biggest uptick in consistency and probably the most fun this year is Nyquan Murray. Nyquan Murray, I think, if properly motivated, and I get the sense that's what Willie's specialty is going to be, can have a huge year because he is a freakishly good athlete and a kind of player that I think obviously is motivated to get to the NFL. This is going to be an NFL year. This is how you get paid. Go put up huge numbers and be that guy that you proclaim yourself to be to begin with. And in an offense that I think is going to be very friendly to wide receivers, skill position players, running backs, and the like. Be interesting to see. Again, we're going to touch on this issue to start the next hour. I don't know what happened. Again, I got to keep reiterating this for the new listeners. I don't know what happened in the DeAndre Francois situation, but I wonder if it will impact the competition because you don't know how the coach feels about this situation. You don't know how he will feel about the situation, and I'm going to be very curious to see what DeAndre Francois' status is with his teammates and the coaches moving forward. Could be that he's fine, but it's interesting.
What's the mark of a good coach and recruiter? It's when they sit across from you, they can get a sense of what you're thinking. Mm-hmm. That's why they can go to different living rooms and either sway people or just, underscore what they already know.
What they know, right.
And so you can get a yes. It'll be interesting to see what he believes, after he sits down, the two players that were there, perhaps the young lady as well.
Yeah.
And gets the story from
and
all three
we may
parties.
never know completely, but he's certainly going to be asked about it. Hour number 2, forthcoming. Stay with Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets
gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men on a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
To feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get you back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 833-4-DRDELAY. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan, and it gives me great pleasure to announce that Kraft Nissan has been designated by Thanks a Bunch, a nonprofit 501c3 military charity, as Tallahassee's exclusive Hero Appreciation dealer. Kraft Nissan will be honoring all of our friends and neighbors who are active and retired military, as well as all area first responders, including police, firefighters, and paramedics, now through Wednesday, January 31st, by giving away free $50 gift cards to these American heroes. These gift cards are good at over 25,000 restaurants nationwide and over 40,000 online choices. So please come to Kraft Nissan now through the end of the month for our first ever Hero Appreciation Week. And because this is a very heartfelt week for us, Kraft Nissan will offer the best deals on all of our new and used cars and trucks to all of our customers during this event. But just for joining us, Kraft Nissan will give a free $50 gift card to a local military or first responder with no purchase necessary. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. See dealer for details. Some conditions apply.
Get to JCPenney for the best winter deals around. Come in now to get the things you want and need from an unbeatable selection of the brands you love. Beat the cold weather with 50 to 80% off clearance items like apparel for the family and items to refresh your home. Plus, download the JCPenney app today and never miss a deal. Find what you need for the prices you love anytime you want. Hurry in, 50 to 80% off clearance ends soon. JCPenney. Selections vary by store while supplies last. Savings off regular and original prices. Intermediate markdowns may have been taken. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
When you own your own restaurant, you have to do it all. Say your chef's out sick, you have to cook. If your busboy's a no-show, you have to clear tables. I even print my own dinner specials every day. You know, in all my spare time.
Right now at Staples, get up to $80 off select HP OfficeJet Pro printers, as HP celebrates 30 years of helping small businesses succeed.
Thanks to Staples, now I have time to scrub my stock pots. So glamorous.
Staples. Saving money equals saving sanity. Ends 1/27/18. See store staples.com for details. Restrictions may apply.
Ah, the perfect lunch spot. A nearly impossible find. Thankfully for Tallahassee, we have Metro Deli. A downtown gem for over 15 years, Metro Deli is locally owned and features the best deli meats, cheeses, breads, and ingredients in the city. Enjoy daily specials and soups, salads and wraps. There's something for everyone. Metro Deli offers online ordering for pickup or delivery and will cater your office breakfast or lunch too. Tallahassee's perfect lunch spot is Metro Deli. MetroDeliTally.com. That's MetroDeliTally.com.
This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Kevin Winter. A story we continue to follow on Sports Center. Disgraced former Michigan State and Team USA Dr. Larry Nassar has been sentenced to 40 to 175 years in prison, all part of his plea deal on multiple counts of sexual abuse. This after 7 days of victim impact statements read by more than 150 women. Judge Rosemarie Acalina handed down the sentence and told Nassar, quote, "I just signed your death warrant." She also told Nassar, "You don't ever deserve to walk outside of a prison again because everywhere you go, destruction will occur." Now, more fallout. First, last night, the NCAA informed Michigan State University they're opening an investigation as to whether any violations occurred in their dealings with Nassar. And shortly after the sentencing was handed down today, the CEO of the United States Olympic Committee called for all current USA Gymnastics directors to resign in the wake of sentencing. Tallahassee police responding to an alleged domestic violence incident involving Florida State quarterback DeAndre Francois. No charges have been filed.
To win in basketball, you got to play great coverage. And with Straight Talk Wireless, you know you're getting great coverage because they use the exact same 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a lot less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Hour number 2, Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio. Good day to you, sir. Good day to you, man. I'm Jeff. That's Tom. We're online at ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you got to listen live via the streaming free always. Don't miss anything. Sometimes you miss something. And that's why we post all 3 hours upon the conclusion of the program, both on iTunes and in our own audio vault. You can always email the show if you like, jcs at 979ESPNradio.com. Find me on Twitter at JCameronShow. WTSM app is free for your mobile devices. Download it today from the App Store and listen in via the WTSM app. On YouTube, it's ESPN Tallahassee. Hello, YouTubers. On Twitter, at 979ESPN
Radio.
Yeah.
There it is.
I never checked that one, and I'm terrible at it. I should mention that more. But if you follow that, I do follow it. If you follow that particular app, or excuse me, Twitter account, then you'd be watching the show that way as well. That's where we Periscope from.
Exactly right. And we do so most days now. Like, it's looking A-okay.
It's not so hit and miss anymore?
No,
we feel good about this?
We get through about a week of it, then I'm going to explore expanding to the other big social media outlets.
Man,
yeah.
How about all of that, huh? So it was a big day today in terms of the news because it was incredibly disconcerting around lunchtime as we were hearing reports that DeAndre Francois was involved in a domestic incident. And obviously, anytime you hear something like that, you're taken aback and you want to find out the details. That's our role. We've got to do that for you, and we did. And I gave my opinion last hour about what I think is going to happen. Now let's get you caught up in case you're just hopping in your vehicle and you don't know what occurred. But if you're looking at the details from the TPD incident report, what you know is that DeAndre Francois' version of events and his girlfriend's version of events are very different. You know that there were no charges filed by the officers on the scene. We know that the officers, the police, I should say, TPD, has interviewed DeAndre Francois, but not charged him after a verbal altercation with his girlfriend became physical in some capacity. Now, this is where it gets to be a he said, she said story. And in that situation, this isn't one of those days where you're going to find me jumping up and down, taking a stand. I don't know what happened. I don't know who to believe. I can just tell you the facts as we know them from the incident report. From his vantage point, DeAndre Francois was relaxing at home, hanging out with a teammate. That teammate was Zaquandre White. His girlfriend came home at some point. I guess they rekindled an argument they were having earlier, and it got volatile. At which point he says his girlfriend began to break items in the home, do damage to property. It's at that point, apparently, that he says she went to the bedroom and shut the door and was going to break his television, and he got the door open somehow and was trying to get her out of the house, out of the apartment. He put his arms around her the way it's described as a bear hug to try to get her out, and called the police. DeAndre Francois, we know, is the one who called the police. He also asked the police to take pictures of the damaged property. So all of these are the things that we know did happen. He called. He asked them to take pictures. The police did take pictures of the damaged property. Now, for her account, the woman involved, the girlfriend, who's not being named, says that it's a different situation, that she was talking to one of his friends, and he told her that she wasn't allowed to talk to other guys, and this got to be an ugly scene. And at some point, he broke down the door to her bedroom and picked her up and threw her to the ground, which caused a cut on her forearm, and that he was trying to remove her from the house. So what's consistent is they both say that he was trying to remove her from the house. There's no getting around that. The difference is that he says that she was the aggressor, and thus he called the police, and she says, no, he was kicking down doors, throwing her to the ground. We don't know what happened, and that is the he said, she said part of it. We do know that the lone witness is his teammate, and he backed up DeAndre Francois. We also know that TPD declined to charge him or her, for that matter, with a crime. So that's where we stand. And I said that I don't believe, based on what I've read in that report, based on what we know now up to this point, that anything's going to become of this.
Yeah, the difficult part here is we can't know exactly what happened. That's the obvious one. But then also, the TPD officer who arrived on the scene is the one who's going to get the best sense of how things went that night. And even in his judgment of how one story went, how another story went, how the witness testimony of Zaquandre White went, he decided that there was no action to be taken about charging anybody, taking anybody, and arresting somebody.
Yeah,
Yes.
and in a domestic dispute, as I understand it, after talking to police officers today, you have to be able to prove that there was an incident at all. First of all, you have to prove there's an incident, not just somebody calling the cops on somebody who didn't say that there was. And then you have to be able to show who was or have some evidence as to who was the primary aggressor. So it doesn't appear that that's something they are able to determine at this time. And the reason that I speculated, well, not a lawyer and not a cop, based on the evidence that we have that nothing would become of this, is because what more can change now from what's already happened, barring another witness or a video? If you don't have that, this is done.
I think it's also important to underscore the detail that she did not wish to press charges. So she was asked, and she said no.
She didn't want to press charges. So I can tell you what a lot of people will do depending on if you're trying to take sides. I'm not trying to take sides. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. But if you read that report and you pull together all of the things you do know and the fact that the police didn't arrest anybody, him or her for that matter, you're going to say, well, God, it's interesting. You know, he says she's breaking stuff in the house and damaging property, and that's how she cut herself on the vase. She says that he kicked down the door after she went into her room after they got into the verbal altercation and threw her to the ground. That's how she cut her hand, or her arm. So that's the dispute as to how she suffered any kind of injury whatsoever. But the fact that he called the police and asked for pictures to be taken, and that the lone witness of the event sides with him, and now I know he's a teammate, right? What people will draw from that is this is an ugly incident, an unfortunate set of circumstances between two young people who are having a terribly nasty breakup, it would appear, a falling out of some sort, and it turned a little volatile, but there's not enough here, and we'll all just move on and go our separate ways. That's what most people are going to draw from this based on the fact that there was not an arrest, there were no charges filed, and that he called the police, and that she didn't want to press charges. Now, you can say that's fair, unfair, or the wrong thing to do, but I'm telling you that's probably what most people today read into this.
Yeah, to me, again, and I don't want to put it on a TPD officer who arrives after the incident is over saying that, you know, he knows exactly what's going on.
He can't.
But he would have, in that situation, in the heat of the moment, as everybody's coming off their adrenaline spike, I imagine, the best sense of whether or not, okay, you're full of BS, and so I'm going to do, yes, I have probable reasoning and cause to arrest you, and I'm going to take you away, and we're going to charge. Because I see who the primary aggressor is. I see what happened here. That wasn't the case. This one was murky enough that even an officer who got there in the moments after and was taking, one would think, emotional witness accounts and testimony, if you will, from either side, said, there's nothing here. I can't do anything about this tonight.
Well, and again, you have the ultimate he said, she said situation where he acknowledges, does DeAndre Francois, that that this argument occurred and that he and his girlfriend have been at odds from everything from what this argument was about to the fact that she says she's pregnant and he basically didn't believe her. He admits to that in the incident report, that she has according to him, she's lied about that in the past and shows no signs of being pregnant. So he's not buying it. Just an ugly scene, just an ugly situation. And I hope both parties get whatever help they need to resolve this amicably and move on. Nobody's hurt, and let's just move forward. But you read that story and you listen, there is the other side of this, which is true of anybody who cares and has a vested interest in the university and the program as a whole, and that is that anytime something like this happens, the program and those involved in it take a hit nationally. There's no way to avoid that, sort of the price of doing business, I suppose, but given that we're all very sensitive to Florida State's reputation, given that there was an incident that was on film that led to DeAndre Johnson being kicked off the team for assaulting a girl at a bar, everybody probably, is a little sensitive to this and very concerned and wants to get to the bottom of it. I mean, I think rightfully so. You would all be looking at this as, what's going on? Is there something that we need to look into further here, or is this just, again, a set of terribly unfortunate circumstances that are unrelated? I get it. If you're a Noel, you care about the reputation of the program, and you know that this doesn't play well.
Yes, and it's absolutely on the athletic department and or the coaching staff, Willie Taggart, to look into it themselves and not just solely rely on what they read or what the police report says. You got to be able to ask your own independent questions here, especially in this day and age where you want to make sure 100% that nothing wrong happened, that no wrong was done to a citizen in your community. Are you kidding me?
Oh, without question. And he's got to and probably will do his due diligence, and it'll be interesting to see what he concludes. I will say this. What I've heard a lot of up to this point is speculation about who DeAndre Francois is. And what happens is you end up tying, say, this incident. We don't know exactly what this incident is, other than both admit to having been in a big-time argument and at some point putting their hands on each other. DeAndre Francois' status within the program is that of injured, first of all. Secondly, it has been questioned openly by some as to what kind of teammate he is. Because, of course, he wasn't there on senior day, which is eyebrow-raising. He's Snapchatting with a guy who'd been kicked off the team. He had liked some things on social media that didn't seem to be overly supportive of James Blackman, etc. But I would just caution everybody that even if you fall into that category of people who think that DeAndre Francois' previous transgressions or acts as a teammate don't fly with you and don't seem to settle in as a guy that you would like to have be around, you can't marry these two. I don't know what happened here. I can't say, because I think if you believe, and this is important, if you believe that people are presumed innocent until proven guilty, then you got to go all the way with that. So therefore, you cannot put this incident in the same line of talking points as acts as a teammate that seem disloyal.
Because I don't like him,
right,
as a,
right.
He's not likable as a player.
You can't do
therefore,
that.
he's more likely to have done this.
Right, you can't do that.
Right.
And you can't even talk about it as if it's just another one of those moments where he's shown poor judgment, because then you're assuming something happened and that he did it. I don't know what happened. And neither did anybody else who wasn't in that room, either her, him, or his teammate. We don't know. And I'm very careful, we all are these days, to make certain assumptions. You might say, well, at the very least, clearly there was an argument. Well, I've been in plenty of arguments with girlfriends.
Right.
We've seen crazy on both sides,
Sure.
for boys and girls. I don't know
This
what
may
happened.
have been out of his control completely.
Completely. So you can't assume, because I get plenty of emails. Well, just poor judgment once again. I don't know. What if it's exactly as he says it was, that he was sitting around watching TV, she came in, started screaming, throwing stuff, and then he tried to remove her from the house because he was protecting himself and his possessions? What if? Is that showing poor judgment? Is that it? No.
Well, that you ever let it get to that point tells me what kind of character you have as a human being.
And I'm not going to assume that he didn't do anything necessarily
Correct.
either. So I'm not going to
Yes.
start to cast doubts on her. I don't know what happened. So that's all I caution people is that
If he did it, you don't want him in your program, period. But if he didn't, then...
Yeah, and they're separate things because I have said on this show that I wasn't sure DeAndre Francois would ever start another game here at Florida State, and it had to do with what I thought James Blackman was capable of, the magnitude of the injury to DeAndre Francois. Now, later on, he added to the many reasons in my mind that I think that DeAndre Francois is on shaky ground here. This isn't included in that.
That's an interesting discussion, too, in and of itself, in a different world from this particular one. You know, just the career arc of how he didn't take his true freshman year seriously, and then he became a workaholic under Jimbo in his redshirt freshman season.
When he realized he had the opportunity.
The
right?
toughness to play through any number of potential injuries.
No questioning that.
And chalk out lines every weekend.
Yes.
And then last year, you know, once he's down, he is a mixed teammate at best.
Yeah, he was.
That's interesting enough by itself.
Well, you start to delve into personality. You start to talk about what it means.
But that cannot influence how you feel about the chances he did or did not do anything.
Right, that's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. So I get a lot of these emails that are coupling these other things and acting as if this is something and those things were something and that you add them all together.
If he didn't show up for senior day, I mean, if he did, I'd believe he didn't do it. But since he didn't show up for senior day,
they're none of these things. They're not. Yeah. So basketball tonight. Jeff Cameron Show 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
And 300-meter hurdles as well. In the classroom, Maddie Powell commands a perfect 4.0 unweighted GPA while taking a full slate of AP and honors classes, all while being involved in the community. Maddie has worked at the Leon Humane Society for over 3 years, served as a Special Olympics partner in soccer, softball, and track and field, and she's logged over 200 hours of service time with the Leon Lions United program. As January's female winner of the Dale Earnhardt Jr. Buick GMC Cadillac High School Scholar Athlete of the Month, Leon's Maddie Powell is now qualified as a finalist for the $2,500 end-of-the-year scholarship. To support the folks at Dale Jr., check them out on the corner of Capitol Circle Northeast and Miccosukee, or by visiting online at Dale Earnhardt Jr. BuickGMCCadillac.com.
Let me tell you a story. It's a love story between a restaurant and its city, and the people of its city. At the corner of Adams and Jefferson, in the heart of downtown Tallahassee, Andrews has been serving up great food, great fun, and great memories for over 45 years. A lot has changed over the years, and Andrews has once again been reinvented to bring the best of the best to its people. There's Tallahassee's original Sunday brunch buffet, fresh, scratch-made recipes, dining under the new outdoor pergola, a boutique meeting space for up to 120 people downstairs, and a half-price happy hour, 4 to 8 on weekdays and all day Saturday and Sunday for fun times with family and friends. Today, Andrews is better than ever in the capital city. The story continues. Come make memories with us. downtown at Andrews. Better than ever.
Sports are defined by stats and performance, but here's a performance stat that no one wants to talk about. Erectile dysfunction affects half of all men over 40. That's 50%. If you're struggling with ED and other therapies haven't worked, isn't it time to feel like yourself again? Learn about a long-lasting ED solution from Coloplast to get you back in the game. Visit Dr. DeLay at Advanced Urology Institute, located at 2000 Centerpoint Boulevard, or call their office and set up an appointment today. 833-4DRDELAY. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay. The sooner you seek treatment, the sooner you can get back to feeling like your normal self. That's 833-4, Dr. DeLay.
Might I suggest the chicken taco salad from Bandito's Burritos, my friend?
If you're a small business, first impressions can make all the difference. With Grasshopper, you get all the features of a professional business phone system on your mobile phone. Choose a business phone number, make calls, and send texts. Stay connected and work from anywhere with features like Wi-Fi calling and our desktop app. Set up your account in minutes with no long-term contracts and 24/7 customer support. Make your small business big. Now get $20 off your first month when you visit grasshopper.com/radio. That's grasshopper.com/radio.
Here's a love story between a restaurant and its city, and the people of its city. For 45 years, Andrews has been serving up great food, great fun, and great memories in the heart of Tallahassee. Today, Andrews is better than ever, with an all-new look, Tallahassee's original Sunday brunch, a new outdoor pergola, and an incredible happy hour. All to bring the best of the best to you. Come make memories at Andrews, better than ever.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I'm getting old, man. Mary Lou Retton's 50. You remember Mary Lou Retton? Do you know who she is?
Did she have a TV career after?
Well, on like stupid commercials. She was on every Wheaties box for a long time.
Okay.
But, you know, she was the Olympic gymnast.
I remember Carrie Strug. You know, that was when I was growing up. Yeah.
Mary Lou Retton was the first ever American woman to win the all-around gold medal at the Olympics, and she is kind of pioneering, I guess, in that realm. But I just realized that, you know, I was mad. Well, I didn't realize this. I knew this. I was mad. She was like the first woman that I can remember like being in awe by, like just being in love with. Looking at her on the screen and being like, whoo, she is stunning. I was a kid. You know, everybody's got that. Like Wonder Woman is that for people of my generation.
Oh, Linda Carter.
Linda Carter. Yeah. When you're a kid, when you're 12,
right?
Or you're at that age where you're transitioning. I get funny feelings when I look at her. She is really something amazing. Like that's who Mary Lou Retton was for me, and she's 50. Damn it, man! I didn't have a good feeling that you would know who she was. Because I think that was the 84 Olympics or whatever it was. So, yeah, that's...
yeah, that was before I was born.
I know, Tom. Florida State, Georgia Tech tonight, TLC Double C, where you don't just roll on in and expect to get out of here with a victory. That ought to be true, frankly. I know that in the ACC, Georgia Tech is 3-3, which, you know, is percentage points better than that of Florida State, who sits at 3-4. But the Noles... hosting this game ought to win it, coming off a victory of their own on the road against Virginia Tech. That would move you to 500 in the ACC, get you to feeling better about where we're at before the big home game against Miami this weekend. Mm-hmm. A chance to avenge that loss from earlier in the year. 15-5 is what the ledger would read, and that's a nice number. That feels good. And Florida State should win this game. There's just no getting around it. You don't need to mince words there. Florida State ought to win the game. I think they're the better team. If you look at the Yellow Jackets, they feature 4 double-figure scorers. They got a sixth man that's talented in Tadrick Jackson. They've got some players that if you don't play well, you can certainly lose. They go about 8 deep. But Florida State ought to be able to hold it down. If you look at Georgia Tech, Georgia Tech's a team that can beat you off the bounce. So let's see what we do defensively to hold them back. They don't shoot the ball well from the outside, so maybe we're in zone tonight. By the way, that percentage, they shoot 32% from the field, 27.2% of their shot attempts come from beyond the arc. Again, we may see whether or not we play zone. There's no way to say this other than Florida State ought to hold serve at the TLC-CC and win this game comfortably. As soon as I do say that, given the history of this series, we're going to be in a one-possession game with 2 minutes to play, and I'm going to be jumping up and down screaming as to why does this always happen when we face Georgia Tech?
Well, their best win of the year is clearly the win over Miami. I'm just looking at the ledger of their whole schedule, and Miami stands out. And you go, well, where did that come from? And that's how we felt in the flow of the moment. And we hated it that week because we were facing Miami on the weekend, and we knew that they would come back home and play with fury.
Yeah.
And they did. I'm looking at everything else about what Georgia Tech is. It's a team we should beat. And it's a team.
Period.
It's a team that, man, I'm going to be angry tomorrow morning. It will bother me into the night, and then I'm going to wake up and be angry.
You'll be restless as you attempt to sleep this evening if this does not go our way.
If it doesn't go our way. And I don't care about style points, but at the same time...
Well, I don't care about style points either. It's about winning the game and moving on.
But what we do is we play better when there are style points. That's who we are now. Perimeter shooting, transition scoring, highlight reel, alley-ooping around the basket, whatever it is, that's what we do now. So if we're playing loose and free tonight, and there are stylistic baskets, if you will,
then
that means we're in the flow. But if we start out, shooting 20% and we're at the under 8 in the first half, okay, hang on tight. Here we go.
Let's just say this once again, removing emotion from the discussion. Florida State doesn't have a bad loss this year. Their worst losses on the season are to Oklahoma State, not a bad loss, and Boston College on the road. Both those teams, by the way, are top 100 RPI teams, so they don't have a bad loss. This would be a bad loss.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. And typically when you're a bubble-ish team, bubble-licious, and your RPI is somewhere between 35 and 55
in years.
Given one result will shift you from the 30s to the low 50s or something along those lines. You have one loss where you go, "Ooh, boy, that's bad." Hopefully for us, the bad loss is being up as much as we were on Louisville at home and finding a way to lose that basketball
that's
game.
just the manner in which you lost. That would never be considered a bad loss.
Correct.
Just the manner in which you lost. We hope the worst loss Florida State suffers is the one to BC if they come back down to earth and are just average. Yeah.
But the thing I said after Saturday's game was hopefully, it defined for us where the floor is. Okay, listen, we're in a slump, but if we're playing a team that's in the middle, average, below average of the pack in the ACC, we're good enough to beat them and control the game. Here's another chance to fortify that belief and put yourself back at 500 with a chance to go over 500 this weekend.
Duke took care of Wake Forest last night rather easily, and Virginia dismantled Clemson. A humiliating defeat for Clemson, who scored all of 36 points. No shame in losing to the best team in the ACC in the form of Virginia. A lot of shame in scoring 36 points with, Division I caliber scholarship athletes on the floor. Good Lord.
There's no doubt about that. But and speaking of Wake Forest, that's our opponent after Miami. So if you win this thing tonight,
winning streak,
you have a chance. You have a chance to be 6-4 in conference. If you win this thing tonight,
got to give yourself that bubble.
You're looking at about 5-5 this time next week because we're going to go up to Wake and we're going to be favored in that game. And that's another opportunity, much like tonight, that you should take care of business. It's the ACC. It's on the road, but it's a win you really should get. So get this one tonight, and you're in a good position where heading into next weekend, not this upcoming weekend against Miami, you're in a good spot off the bubble to the good side.
I'll tell you this. I know that when we were talking about the stretch of 3 games before we faced Virginia Tech, I said Florida State must go bare minimum 2-1 if they want to salvage something of a season and have a chance to make the NCAA tournament. Well, obviously, by going on the road and getting a win over Virginia Tech, who then, by the way, subsequently turned around and beat North Carolina, so you never poo-poo road wins in the ACC against teams like that. Florida State went up there and led almost the entire game and looked really good doing it. Defensive lapses here and there, but a really fine outing. By getting that win, you offset the disappointment of the second half of the Louisville game a little bit, and you set yourself up to do exactly what you're talking about now. You win tonight, you've won a minimum of 2 out of the 3, but now you're going to start to get hungry. Now you're going to start talking about going on a hell of a run here. Now you're going to start talking about what's possible in seeding, because you'll get gluttonous that way if you win tonight, because the next game is a rivalry game. We all want to beat Miami. It's at home. It should be a packed house. You want to avenge the loss you had. And if, again, we're getting out ahead of ourselves, but if you get it 3 straight in the ACC for a middling team like Florida State is a hell of a thing with Wake Forest on the horizon. Yeah, you're going to start feeling very, very good. So there's no understating just how big a win the road game against Virginia Tech was. It allows for real positive momentum to build and a chance to win 4 in a row.
In your talks with people around basketball programs like Florida State's, and I know you talk to other coaches around.
I do.
Yeah. Is there a look-ahead factor in college basketball, the way we talk about it in college football? You know, oh, that's a look-ahead game. We got NC State on the road. I know Clemson's the next week, but that's a trap game, a look-ahead game. Because I think tonight, if there was one, if that's possible in college basketball the way it is, we always circle the schedule in college football.
I think you
got to be focused tonight. You can't worry about Saturday with Miami. It's about tonight.
There's a fatigue factor mentally and emotionally, as well as physically, in a long season within conference play in particular, especially a good conference. I think you can get to where you're not up for certain games, and if the name on the jersey doesn't inspire you to find that extra energy, then you can be caught going through the motions. But I don't think that the way it is in football, that players ever take to the floor kind of really with their mind not on the task at hand, because the beauty of basketball is there's an immediacy and an urgency to each possession, and especially home games where the fans are there and they're involved. And that's one of the things Sue Simmer was talking about with the game this weekend, and she's actively involved in trying to encourage the community to come out. And I mean, this is actually applicable to your question and to our discussion. She was talking to me off the air. We were just kind of having a conversation about how far women's basketball has come from the days when I used to make fun of it on a daily basis to where we are now. And while I still don't watch a ton of it, I don't think it's terrible anymore. She said, well, you know, one of the things that's happened is that there is a greater there are more talented players, more female players that are a far cry better than they used to be, spread out, and they still have to work on competitive balance. There's still not a ton of great teams out there, but there's certainly more than 2 as there used to be. And attendance has gotten better, and so when you go to games, you get a sense of an atmosphere. And she said atmosphere is a big deal in basketball, Jeff. She said when I go to some places where they don't have it, where the people haven't bought in or the programs haven't been as successful, there may be literally, and she named a school, and I'm not going to name it, 300 people in the building. And she goes, it's hard to play when that happens. It's hard to just feel like there's the emotion or energy that you get from the crowd. And what that got me to thinking about, and that's why she wants tons of people to come out and let's find that energy. You know, you got a top 10 team. It's $1, and you got a top 10 team coming in. Also, Florida State's going to be hosting the first 2 rounds in the NCAA, so they want to prove that you're going to be good hosts and all that. But you do feed off the energy of a crowd in basketball, and for the good and the bad. And, you know, I've really talked about at length over the last 2 years how it's just warmed my heart, truly, as somebody who wants Florida State basketball to get consistently solid, to be a dependable product that makes the tournament year in and year out or something close to it. You have to have a home court advantage. That carries some teams. It really does. You may not have a better basketball team. Last year, we won every home game we played. Florida State's not better, wasn't better than Louisville. Florida State wasn't better than Duke. They won those games here. The atmosphere had a lot to do with that. So when you're tired and you may be on the verge of looking ahead or thinking about other games, or teams are less than inspiring because of the names on the front of their jersey, the crowd can take you to another place. I hope tonight is extremely well attended, obviously.
Can we ever get a straight answer on why we don't at least somewhat integrate a group of students towards, the sidelines and not the baseline and tucked away? Yeah. I get it, but they have done more than their part in the last 3 seasons of really showing out.
Used to make fun of them all the time. I used to sit here, so did you. We would talk about how deplorable it was. Our students didn't care, didn't show up. I know the product wasn't good, but we weren't doing anything to help them get better. And now you just can't say that. They've been very good.
Even if it's 2 rows across the sideline on one side, the announce table side, side instead of the bench side because you don't want incidents, obviously, with the bench. Is that so hard? I mean, do we really have that many season tickets we're giving away to boosters?
To the boosters who are season ticket holders for football.
Right.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
The answer is I think so, yes.
You can't combine them on one side of the court and there aren't still open seats for 2 rows right next to the court just to give you a little taste and make it make it a status for the kids who show out and they have like the loyalty programs. Or
I'd love to see it, man.
That's all I'm asking. I'm not saying put all of the students on a sideline, but have a couple of rows of kids to give you something.
We once had the res zone.
Yeah. I mean, I get it.
That failed miserably.
Doak is massive. I get it. Yeah. But you do have some sideline seating. The student section does kind of spill over in that corner there. You don't have to keep them so removed because they're the key to the atmosphere you're talking about. The people who do show up, and sometimes I see same spot, same guys, same wife, husband, family, whatever, every single game. That's
good for them.
Great.
They're great, yeah.
Yeah, but the atmosphere, they're not doing much. They're not bringing a whole lot to the table.
No, they're not.
And we're hearing it on one side of the place where it's getting super, super loud. What do we have to do to get a little bit more atmosphere in our game without taking away all of those seats?
Just keep on winning, man. Do the impossible. As a also ran program within the conference, at least in basketball, just keep winning games at an alarming rate that forces people to have no choice but to go in droves and support the winner. And that's why keeping momentum to the basketball program or with the basketball program that was garnered by the season they had a year ago is paramount. This is all about sustaining some form of excellence or something close to it for a good long period of time to change the way people feel about going to basketball games, about supporting the basketball program, and eventually demanding better, demanding more. Demanding from the university and the coaching staff and everybody else more because we're invested from a financial standpoint and an emotional standpoint as fans and alumni and supporters from the community. That's what you're trying to get to. But it sometimes can take a lot longer than anybody would like.
Well, there's no doubt, for those of you who don't make their way up to Tallahassee for basketball season, if we're in the arena, let's just say we're in the ESPN Tallahassee Corner Pocket Executive Suite. It starts with the student section. That's where the ambient noise begins to grow on a defensive possession or when the energy of a fast break dunk. It all starts with that group. Then the people on the sidelines start to follow form, and they say, oh, okay, let's get up and get excited.
I guess we got to do it. The kids are rowdy.
Right. They're the catalyst for this whole thing. And sometimes they get a little unruly, like with the Grayson Allen thing. But you know what? That comes with the territory of having an engaged student presence.
It's just so crisp and clear when it happens, unfortunately, that somehow a chant that involves F-bombs flow forward. You think, at a football game, it's somewhat squashed, but not in the basketball arena.
They're not saying Chuck to Mason.
No. There's a lot of going on there. There's a lot of, that's bristle-worthy. Let's not do that. I mean, you know me. I don't easily offend ever. I can't remember the last time I was truly offended by something, but occasionally our students in the at the basketball games will get a little carried away about a poor call or a player they don't like, and you'll hear some things that make you blush a little bit.
Yeah, you're Philip Seymour Hoffman around the pool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, let's move it along here now. Great scene. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind, tough like a soul soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Recommendations for energy and water saving improvements, and it's all free. Take advantage of the Winter Relief Assistance Program, or WRAP. This alternative payment program allows all residential and non-demand small business utility customers to carry over up to 25% of their utility bill in January and February to the following month's bill. To request this option, customers should call 891-4968 after they receive their bill. Try switching to natural gas. The City of Tallahassee offers rebates on natural gas appliances. To find out if natural gas is available in your area, visit talgov.com/YOU. Check out the City of Tallahassee's Ceiling Insulation Grant Program. The city may pay up to 80% of the installation's cost, up to $400. Having an energy-saving winter is easy with all of these great products and services. Call 891-4U. That's 891-4968 to learn more and be winter ready.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. As most of you know, it's that time of year again. Tax refund time. What does that mean for all of us? It means that every single car dealer in town will be trying to shout the loudest for you to bring in your tax refund. Bring in your W-2s, and they will put you in a car, a used car that is nothing like what you really want. Well, guess what? Kraft Nissan's New For You program is an absolute game changer. We don't need your tax return. We don't need to see your W-2. And absolutely the best of all, we will not sell you an overpriced used car. And that is exactly why at Kraft Nissan, we call it the New For You program. We will plug your information into our system, which approves 4 out of 5 people with damage credit, and at the end of the day, you will drive away in a brand new Nissan, with or without a tax refund. You know the deal. Recently divorced? No problem. Recent bankruptcy? No problem. Credit score under 600? No problem. And it's not tied to taxes. Come see how easy it is for you to drive away in a new Kraft Nissan. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag in your car, you paid too much. Way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
Get to JCPenney for the best winter deals around. Come in now to get the things you want and need from an unbeatable selection of the brands you love. Beat the cold weather with 50 to 80% off clearance items like apparel for the family and items to refresh your home. Plus, download the JCPenney app today and never miss a deal. Find what you need for the prices you love anytime you want. Hurry in, 50 to 80% off clearance and soon. JCPenney. Selections vary by store while supplies last. Savings off regular and original prices. Intermediate markdowns may have been taken. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Barry knows school, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows school, you can put him to the test.
Seasons change, but your confidence in your home comfort system shouldn't. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, you'll be comfortable in your home all year long. This winter, take advantage of great rebates and 0% APR financing for 36 months. Learn more online at baranoac.com.
Barano Heating and Air Conditioning.
Florida license number CAC 057652.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
Parker Brothers Roofing says don't play games with your roof. Protect your home and your family. The Parker Brothers tell you the truth. We'll fix your roof, cause it's what we do. With quality, integrity, and pride. Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
Hey, I'm Travis with Parker Brothers Roofing. Some roofers are like a bad boyfriend. They make lots of promises, but in reality, they're just cheap. They don't own up to their mistakes, and they leave you with a lot of regret. Parker Brothers Roofing stands behind every installation, and if a mistake is made, we own it and fix it. Our customers never have to worry about being left behind for the next job. At Parker Brothers, it's quality that builds our quantity. Call us at 656-8112.
Parker Brothers Roofing, professional every time. Stay safe and dry inside.
License number number CCC 049350.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
I get that Peter King can sometimes be annoying, but obviously he has been as tied into the NFL as anybody for a very, very long time, writing about it, documenting it. And he said something in the article that was released yesterday that we had hit on, Tom, that I think is absolutely true. And I always find frustrating after the fact of close football games, like the New England-Jacksonville game is or was. You now just expect, because of the nature of the way we review plays 4,000 times, that you are going to find major controversies as the talking point. And he opened by writing, "We have gotten to a crazy place in football. Crazy. We think that occurrences on the football field that last 0.94 seconds, and I timed it 6 times. That was the average. And then our slow mode for hours, Zapruder-like, and the game telecast, and then on Sunday night highlight shows, and then online for hours after that can be sensibly dissected and critiqued in real time. It's unrealistic." And he's talking about the Miles Jack strip of Patriots running back Dion Lewis in the open field in the fourth quarter of the AFC Championship game. Lewis was running down the left side of the field at the end of the gain when corralled by Jack, who partially stripped the ball from Lewis. In the process of both men going to the ground, the ball was stolen by Jack. Jack rolled over, got up, began to run. The whistle had already blown. He talked about that, and they were saying that, well, I suppose, that the vast majority of the response he got in his mailbag and that he heard people talking about after the game was that they all found it dubious that there was an inadvertent whistle on the strip fumble, which then people speculate cost the Jags the game. And his thought was, you do realize that an official even wanting to fix a game or a situation, that wouldn't be it, because in real time it would be impossible for him to know that that was coming out and that he could see it. It was 0.94 seconds. The mistake may have been a mistake, but it was a mistake. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't a bias against the Jags or for New England.
I 100% agree that the game moves too fast to legislate a lot of things perfectly, and for us to expect otherwise is crazy. We always point back to our meetings in 2012 up in Charlotte or Greensboro or wherever the hell it was, and we were learning from the ACC symposium with Doug Rhodes.
But it's also, another point you're going to make, and I want to hear it, but let me interject real quick. It's also about the unrealistic expectations that we place on officials.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, you can't. There's no way. But what I hate, and I think this is what the Twitter mobs of the world have done, is now everything is a conspiracy or controversy.
Sure, I agree. However, you do have enough time to think about, if I blow the whistle, now this is going to stay here no matter what. You do have enough time to do that. I don't think this addresses the larger point he's trying to make. I don't think that that's what happened. Do not get me wrong.
Yeah,
but an official knows enough because they have been trained to let plays go on and continue so that they can.
If the ball's loose and you see that to be the case and you're unsure if a player was still up at the time that they lost the ball or, in fact, down by contact, yes. If you don't see that it had come loose and the player has now been tackled, which he was, and is rolling over, you've just blown the whistle because the play's ended. And then, oh, snap. My man, Miles Jack's got the ball.
Yeah.
And I've already blown the whistle. I can see how that happens.
I can see how that happens,
And I can see why,
too.
if I'm a Jags fan, I'm like, damn it, man. But I can certainly see how it happened.
But I think in the bang-bang moment, you can know, it depends on what the official saw. And this is what all goes back to. Like, there's no way, short of putting, GoPro cams that have little gyroscopes so you can actually keep the footage stable, what they saw and how they saw it.
Right.
You
I
just
think
can't
that
know how
play
they
happened
perceive
so
things.
fast that he couldn't. I don't think he saw it. I think he blew the whistle because he thought the play was over. And then, oh, no, my man is getting up without the ball, and that guy hasn't.
But I do believe there is an element of officiating that bleeds over from what we commonly see in basketball, which is it's almost like an advantage play in soccer. He got hacked. If he makes it, I'm not going to blow the whistle for the foul. If he does, if he does miss, then I'm going to blow the whistle. He's going to go to the line because it was a foul, but,
that's poor officiating.
Right. That happens all the damn time, especially in the NBA playoffs. In the heat of a conference final
Yes, it
or
does.
final,
Yes, it does.
you see them wait an extra tick, and they don't see anything new that would help them react later to say, oh, wait a minute, I was wrong. You know exactly what you're doing. I do think in some circumstances we have that effect with the NFL.
I think in some. I do think the larger point is true here, that we expect officials to be superhuman. And that is born out of the fact that we can watch something 15 times at frame-by-frame rates that we never could have 10, 15 years ago, that allow us to see something that should be, based on that speed, apparent to the official. Whereas if you play that in full speed from the angle that officials get, for the average fan at home, they would realize there's no conspiracy here. These guys, the game's too fast. These guys are too big, too strong, too fast. They can't see it.
Yeah.
They can't see it. And I think it's a problem. I don't think it means that there's no problem in officiating. I think the problem is that they can't. These guys are too good. They're too big, too strong, too fast, and you can't see things.
No, I agree. With the larger point, I think he's 100% right. I do think that a referee could process enough there to say whether or not to blow the whistle. In this case, I don't know what the referee saw, and I don't know which official it was. Was it the official on the sideline? Was it a back judge? I mean, what was their angle of the play, and what did they see? And is it their call to make a whistle on? You know, that's the other important thing. Are you the one who's in position to blow the whistle in that circumstance? So I will plead ignorance to this specific case.
Right.
I do think there's enough time to process that information. My whole thing is that we can be better. We don't have to be superhuman for the replay process to go faster.
That's got to be much better. That we're in wholehearted agreement on, and it's almost a separate set of circumstances altogether. What I expect of my officials on the field has diminished greatly. I don't expect those guys to be able to see a game played at lightning breakneck speed as it is now by superhuman individuals in the way that I used to, say, in the late 70s, early 80s. And I also know that I'm influenced by social media, if I happen to be on it at the time a game's going on, and then you get the en masse response of what a terrible or what a great call that is. And the 15 times that I can watch it from every possible angle that leads me down a path, right, of going, well, he should have clearly known. You know, yeah, I get all of that. I just think the replay process is flawed because it should never take as long as it does. And we do need to, I think, eliminate the number of things that we allow to be replayed. I'd actually decrease the things you could look at.
Yeah, well, you also need to be we know about simplification. We've talked about that for weeks with the catch rule. But you also need to empower the official either in the booth or on the field. And they've tried to do it, but it's felt like a half measure, where you say, if it's close, we're going with the call on the field. It has to be beyond reasonable doubt. You know what I mean? Like they say.
Well, technically that is the rule,
but that's not the way they do it.
That's not the way
and
it's
that's
applied,
not the feeling
but
you get.
No.
And the time takes way too long.
Well, here's why that would be a big deal.
It would shorten the review, first off, and say, well, that's really close. That's bang, bang.
It'd be a millisecond.
Yes.
I mean, any play that, wasn't obviously discernible, you would immediately go, oh, well, you know what? We're going to go with the official's call on the field. I mean, it would take maybe one look. You'd go, that's too quick, too close,
And
moving on.
They've said it in past seasons. Even Pereira said it as early as last year. I can remember, you know what they're going to do this year is go with the call on the field more often this year, guys. So you're going to see that. No, we didn't. We still see 4- and 5-minute replays, which what are they dissecting? That's not always because they need to check down, distance, and time on the clock because of an overturn. It's simply because they don't know what to do. And that's crazy. So you have to empower the officials to get out of a situation with a little bit more time.
Pereira talked about that particular play and said it was incredibly difficult to officiate. In a second, the ball's loose, maybe repossessed, maybe recovered by the other team. Maybe the recovering player was touched as he fell with the ball, or maybe without possession of the ball fully in that moment, all in about a second. No one really questioned that in real time, only after watching it over and over again in super slow motion. That's the most difficult call an official would have to make. The article goes on to talk more about the criticism of the call. I think... listen, depending on if you're on the wrong side of the call, any call for that matter, you immediately begin to point fingers and think that officials are incompetent if it goes against you, and you think, well, you have some sympathy, you have some empathy for officials at the speed of the game if it went in your favor. That's just the way it works. I think we're too often in moments that we used to be able to enjoy. There's too long a wait for us to believe what we saw. And I'm talking about Kelvin Benjamin's touchdown in the national championship game. That's a tragedy to not be able to begin to celebrate what looks to be an obvious touchdown, but rather have to wait. I mean, you celebrate and then you stop. Hold on.
Well,
let's wait for them to take a look at it.
Yeah, for me, I wanted to wait until the snap of the extra point. The call on the field was a big benchmark. That's great. Let's hug. But then when they snap the extra point and nobody's going, beep, 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 you know, they're running in because in the pros you don't even snap that ball unless it's good. But in college they can stop it up to the millisecond.
I hate it.
Yeah.
You take away the joy. Yeah. Final hour, forthcoming. Stay with.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck, always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Metro Deli, a downtown gem for over 15 years, Metro Deli is locally owned and features the best deli meats, cheeses, breads, and ingredients in the city. Enjoy daily specials and soups, salads and wraps. There's something for everyone. Metro Deli offers online ordering for pickup or delivery and will cater your office breakfast or lunch too. Tallahassee's perfect lunch spot is Metro Deli. MetroDeliTally.com. That's MetroDeliTally.com.
Barry knows cool, he's keeping you comfortable. Barry knows cool, you can put him to the test.
Seasons change, but your confidence in your home comfort system shouldn't. When you turn to the experts at Carrier and Barano Heating and Air, you'll be comfortable in your home all year long. This winter, take advantage of great rebates and 0% APR financing for 36 months. Learn more online at BaranoAC.com.
Barano Heating and Air Conditioning.
Florida license number CAC 057652.
Games for Less, the only locally owned and operated gaming store in town, has Tallahassee's largest selection of new and used video games and game systems. The future of video gaming is at Games for Less, where they have both the PS4 and Xbox One. It's time to trade in your old systems and elevate your gaming experience now. Games for Less is also your headquarters for the best in retro gaming. Atari 2600, original Nintendo, Super NES, or Sega Genesis, you name it. They got it at Games for Less. Games for Less, the Super Walmart Shopping Center on Appalachia Parkway. Give them a call today at 850-219-3535. That's Games for Less.
Need a place to watch your favorite sporting event? Hobbit American Grill, voted best wings in Tallahassee by Tally Awards 3 years in a row. They have daily lunch specials, all under $9, happy hour drink specials, and happy hour on Friday, 2 p.m. to close. Darts are coming in January to West Pensacola Street. Hobbit American Grill keeps it local with a wide variety of locally crafted beers, plus a full bar. Hobbit American Grill, 3 locations to choose from: 400 Capitol Circle Southeast, 2020 West Pensacola Street, and 5032 Capitol Circle Southwest. Visit them online at myhobbitonline.com.
Jackson Hewitt has big news. The no-fee refund advance just got bigger. Now you could get up to $3,200 today. Go to Jackson Hewitt and you could get up to $3,200 with a bigger-than-ever no-fee refund advance 0% APR loan. Don't delay. Go to Jackson Hewitt today and you could get up to $3,200. Optional tax refund loan provided by Medevac, not the actual tax refund. You can e-file without applying. Fees for other optional products may apply. Availability and loan amount subject to conditions and locations. Bigger is a comparison to the maximum loan amounts previously available for the refund advance at Jackson Hewitt. Details at jacksonhewitt.com.
This is 97.9 ESPN Radio, WTSM, Woodville, Thomasville, Tallahassee.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Kevin Winter. A story we continue to follow on Sports Center. Disgraced former Michigan State and Team USA Dr. Larry Nassar has been sentenced to 40 to 175 years in prison, all part of his plea deal on multiple counts of sexual abuse. This after 7 days of victim impact statements read by more than 150 women. Judge Rosemarie Acalina handed down the sentence and told Nassar, quote, "I just signed your death warrant." She also told Nassar, "You don't ever deserve to walk outside of a prison again because everywhere you go, destruction will occur." Now, more fallout. First, last night, the NCAA informed Michigan State University they're opening an investigation as to whether any violations occurred in their dealings with Nassar. And shortly after the sentencing was handed down today, the CEO of the United States Olympic Committee called for all current USA Gymnastics directors to resign in the wake of sentencing. Tallahassee police responding to an alleged domestic violence incident involving Florida State quarterback DeAndre Francois. No charges have been filed.
To win in basketball, you got to play great coverage. And with Straight Talk Wireless, you know you're getting great coverage because they use the exact same 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a lot less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Final hour of the Jeff Cameron Show, at least for today. You know, if we go back and listen to that, you think I got that in just before Strummer started singing? It's close. We'll have to go back.
It's close.
It's very close. We would need to review that. Yeah. I'm not sure that I got in the final. Did I start my before he began to sing?
It depends, though. You go back and forth on that some days.
Some days I'm a little earlier than others.
Some days later, too. Yeah.
But I'm very seldom later than the start of the actual singing from Strummer.
Yeah, it's close.
I can't, I don't. We've been doing it for so
long.
long.
Most consistent you are is with the 3 o'clock.
The first hour, the first segment.
The second one, you do whatever you want.
I am a little willy-nilly.
Yeah, sometimes you come in early and I'll go, woo, I'm glad I had the mic hot.
Other times I'm woefully late. Yeah. I'm still entertaining the idea of not beginning the hours that way, save for hour number 1. No, music can be the same, but I'm entertaining the idea of just jettisoning the...
Tired of shouting?
I think so. Maybe it's the 46-year-old me that's telling the 26-year-old me to shut up. We don't need all that shouting. But then, I worry that maybe that's it's part of the show, man.
It is.
It's kind of a thing. It's part of it, But I really strive to be genuine on this show and to be somebody that's relatable. And the only way you can do that is certainly to be yourself, to be the person that you are presently.
Yeah.
And I began that full-throated, enthusiastic intro way back when I began the show in my 20s. And so I'm a different guy now.
That's true. I always wondered how you handled the opens on a day where you weren't feeling great. You know what I mean? I'm talking about emotionally inside.
Oh, you mean back in the day before you began to work on the show and before we became friends, you wondered this as a listener?
No.
Oh.
I wonder it still as a producer of the show.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Because there are days when the news cycle demands that, we probably play down the, there's bad news going on or breaking news or sad news, so you can't be shouting and saying good afternoon.
Yeah.
It's not a good afternoon
if
at all,
150 people just got shot at a school somewhere,
right.
I can't come on and be like, hey, everybody.
Right, exactly.
Right. And yet, there can be troubling news all around us, because there is on a daily basis, thoroughly documented to be sure. And you don't want to lose your enthusiasm, because this is escapism from that for people who need to get away.
Correct, and that is part of the mandate here. Implied as it is.
I wrestle with that, but that's that. Yeah, I agree. That's the role.
But I wonder if you're just not having a good day, and then you have to do it. Do you resent that?
No, I never resent that, because I have the best job in the world, and I haven't lost sight of that. It can be difficult to do if I have a splitting headache or I'm suffering from flu-like symptoms. Or the only time that I've ever resented it is if I'm emotionally distraught.
That's what I'm kind of getting at.
Or suffering from some form of depression over something that really has affected me and my family, or something that affects me personally. It could be whatever. But the point, yes, that's the only time. That's the only time. Ordinarily, I think of it as, man, am I lucky as hell to get to do this? And so the enthusiasm's real, and I don't really worry about mustering it. I mean, I have to give it a little extra what for, because I don't walk around talking like that. But I am boisterous by nature, and I am obviously a pretty loud guy.
That would be funny if every business you walked into. You know?
Hey, everybody, how are you? I hate this guy. Please get him.
I don't know him
Please
yet,
get him out of this
but I
office
hate him.
right now. Yeah, no, that would be bad. That'd be bad. I just wondered. I thought I was a fraction late. That's all this stems from. I thought I was a fraction late in getting in there. We are online, ESPNTallahassee.com. That's where you go to listen live via the streaming. That is free, always. You don't have to miss things, but sometimes we all do, and therefore all 3 hours are posted both on iTunes and in our own audio vault.
You still get butterflies before every show?
Nope.
No.
No.
Certain ones, depending upon the news, and the importance of the news,
magnitude of the day, or the discussion we're about to have. Butterflies, no. Am I still excited to do every show? Yes. That's a different thing. Butterflies, if I'm nervous about an issue that maybe we don't have a handle on yet, if there is something that is very delicate and nuanced to a point where I don't trust myself to talk about it in a way that relays the sensitivity necessary, because sometimes I'm overly blunt, and I'm aware of that about myself, so therefore I'll say, you may be too pointed here, you could be too terse here, and people could maybe read this the wrong way, and, occasionally, those things make me nervous. I'll tell you when I get nervous. I always get nervous if I have somebody on the show that I respect, even if I know them exceptionally well, and even if I call them friends. So, I'm slightly nervous if David Hale comes on, if Ira Schafel comes on, if Corey Clark, if anybody I like that I work with, because I want to do right by them. I want them to put their best foot forward.
I don't make you nervous when I'm across the glass?
Thankfully you don't. Thankfully you don't, because we're boys.
Because you don't respect me?
That's not it at all. You work on the show. I respect you so much you work here. No, what I'm saying is that, yeah, I want to do right by them. So if we get a guest of any kind, I was nervous most every Sunday evening that I interviewed Jimbo, but not about whether or not it was going to be contentious or whether or not we were going to agree, but whether or not it was a fair representation of the conversation we had prior, whether or not it was getting the most out of him. I got to trust myself to get the most out of him, because most coaches are they're going to kind of be guarded.
Sure.
And so I'd get a little nervous there.
Which is the right button to push to get that 40-second answer instead of the 4-second answer.
I'll get butterflies leading up to that, thinking, oh, man, I got to get this out of him. I want him to talk about this and that, and I think it's interesting, and I got to ask the right questions. And I always have an outline, and I always have questions in my mind, and I'm asking myself moments before they come on, is that the right question? Is that going to piss him off? So I'd get a little nervous there. Not worried, because if you piss them off, whatever, I'll deal with that, but you're not going to get the best out of them if it happens. And that's why I would get concerned with things like that.
Oh, being a good interviewer is a skill, so I can understand that.
Right. And the more you do them, the better you get, and the more you can get. One of the methodologies we have, and certainly that I have anytime we bring somebody on that we haven't had on, is to disarm them immediately.
Sure.
Get them to just talk. We're having a conversation, man. I'm not here to jump out of the bushes and scare the hell out of you. I'm not going to try to burn you. I'm not trying to ambush anybody. I want you to talk to me, though. Don't give me fluff answers either, because that's no good for anybody involved.
Right.
Let's have a talk, man.
Yeah. Well, a great tactic to ambush somebody too is to say fewer words in the question.
Yeah, no.
And now they feel the urgency of the live air themselves.
And they
have to. Well, yeah.
And then you jump on them.
No, I'm not saying attack.
I'm kidding.
I'm saying, to let them expound.
Oh,
because if you give them long enough where you're leading into the question, now they're on the defensive because they're mapping out ways that they can skirt the issue.
Admittedly, when I do go back and listen to shows, I find that I was not very good at that process for a very long time. I'm better at it now, nowhere near where I want to be, but much better now at letting the other people talk. It took me a long time to do that.
That was the Michael Kelly interview. What should Nigel Bradham have done differently? What a perfect first question.
Yeah, and it buried him.
Well, that's what he had to do because Doug was mouthing off saying stupid stuff.
That's the only reason I did that. He pissed me off. Doug.
That's not about Michael.
No,
he's got to answer for his colleague and his partner in crime.
I like Michael, so I asked the question the way I did because I was mad at Doug, but I knew it put Michael in a terrible position. And
you didn't, Doug did.
But I will tell you this, that as that played out, he knew it too, and he knew that was a winning question, and he thought to himself, shoot.
That's what he thought.
And he stuttered his way through that answer. And then I lightened up. Kind of. Here we go. Today's news wasn't good news, but now it's simply straightforward news. It is this. We don't know exactly what happened. We have a classic he said, she said situation that developed around lunchtime today involving DeAndre Francois of Florida State and his girlfriend. And that's been a tough deal, right? Because you want to be sensitive to the serious accusation from the girlfriend. You also don't want to assume guilt, and you also want to look at what the incident report reads and just present the facts. And the facts are this, that the police were called by DeAndre Francois after a verbal incident turned to a physical incident between he and his girlfriend. Now, to the extent of the physicality, we have different scenarios that were given by the individuals involved. DeAndre says that his girlfriend came home. He was hanging out with Zacondre White. They were watching TV or a movie. She brought up an argument kind of an ongoing argument that they had been having. He asked her to leave. She didn't want to leave. She began to break stuff as the argument became more intense, went to his room and shut the door. And he was worried she was going to break his television. He ends up opening the door, manhandling the door, breaking the door, whatever, and putting her kind of in a hug and trying to escort her out of the room. She says it didn't happen that way, that he kicked down the door and that he threw her to the ground and she cut her arm. He says she cut her arm when she broke a vase of his. And so here's the deal. It is a classic he said, she said. It is an ugly incident to be sure. But it is one that TPD declined to press charges on. And I asked folks regarding this, the police that were called. I didn't talk to them, but I did talk to police officers. And they informed me that in situations like this, what they're looking for and what has to be apparent is you have to prove, first and foremost, that an incident occurred. And you have to find a primary aggressor. And quite clearly, they couldn't do that. And thus, no charges have been filed. My guess, based on the incident report, and I'll read it verbatim here in a second, or at least snippets of it, is that nothing's going to come of this. I'm not saying something should or something should not. Solely just that from what I read, I don't think anything's going to become of this.
Yeah, I think the important thing to really focus on here as it pertains to DeAndre's status with Florida State University as a member of the football team is that the officer who got there could not determine who the primary aggressor was in this situation. So, you're stuck between a rock and a hard place because you have a negative PR moment at best. At best, if DeAndre is innocent of everything. At worst, now you have somebody on your team that you have to allow this to be context for. If there's anything in the future that comes up about DeAndre, you have to remember this moment, whether or not you believe him about this scenario or not. This has to inform the way that you look at DeAndre's behavior moving forward. And in the immediate term, the athletic department, be it Stan, somebody underneath him at the athletic department, or Coach Taggart himself, have to sit down,
talk with him, talk with the girl, talk with
Zacondre, and get their side of the stories so they can hear it themselves and not just leave it to reading a police report.
Yeah, and it's important to note some other details here, and you can do with this what you want. It was DeAndre Francois. This is not disputed. It was DeAndre Francois who called the police. Francois called because of property destruction, and I guess he's alluding to the fact that he thought she was hysterical and he was having a hard time gaining control of the situation, so he called the police himself. He also asked the police to take pictures of the damage done, the property damage, and they did. They obliged. So in terms of reporting the incident, it was not her. It was him. Also, she said she didn't want to press charges. Now, again, that does not mean he didn't do anything wrong. It also doesn't mean that he did something wrong. But she didn't want to press charges. And, again, he called the police. So I do think that in that way, it's a little atypical. I'm not sure. I don't get mired in reading about these incidents because they're depressing. But, certainly it is interesting to note in this case that it was the male involved that called the police in this situation.
You're boiling it down to, no matter which way we go here, it's always going to come back to, we don't know what happened. You have two versions of what happened, and unless Zacondre changes his version of the events, someone else was around the apartment complex and saw a different version, and or DeAndre or the female in this particular situation amend their statements with something else, there's nowhere you can go here. But the university has to take it seriously, not because it's a national PR issue for Florida State.
No, because it's potentially a very, very volatile and damaging incident that may have involved violence towards a woman.
This could not be. This could be a situation where you don't want this person on your team anymore. But it's your job to investigate it and go with what you got. And legally speaking, there isn't much there.
Yeah, legally speaking, it doesn't sound like there's anything there. Legally speaking, it looks like this is going to be done with, and as of tomorrow, we'll be moving on, not talking about this, because I don't know what this is per se. Two different stories. Again, barring another witness stepping forward and saying, no, that's not what happened, or barring video evidence that show us something different from what's been. Nothing's going to become of this, is what it looks like. Now, you're right. Remove the criminality aspect of all of this, whether there was a crime or not a crime, and who did it and who didn't. Yes, Coach Taggart and the FSU athletic department have to do their due diligence, and in that process, regardless of what could happen in the courts or charges or anything else, if they find that what DeAndre Francois has done or did here to be egregious or cross a line, whatever that might be, a standard of theirs, then they would have to act.
Well, and there's one thing, and while this is apples to oranges with the Jameis Winston situation, given that brought in Title IX implications, one thing that we did learn during that time was that Title IX calls for the university to conduct its own independent investigation and not leave it to the legal system.
Yes.
Not leave it to the local law enforcement.
Irrespective of their ability to competently do so or not.
Right, exactly right. Now, remember, in that time, we were talking about it, and when that information was brought forward, we thought, wow, what do you do in situations in just real life? What are you told to do? Call the cops and let the cops handle the situation.
Yeah, let the professionals in law enforcement handle illegal situations, sure.
Yes. However, with Title IX, you are obligated as a university to conduct your own investigation. Do not wait for the investigation by the legal parties.
Right, but now we're going to get into the lunacy of all this. And
it is, but what I'm saying is that lesson needs to be applied here, in that the university has to take it.
Hell, I can't imagine that they would ever overlook that, given what's happened in the past.
Agreed.
I agree with you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm saying to the nth degree that'll happen is my guess.
Yes, you got to sit the young man down and talk. This can't be something that, no charges came of it.
You have to talk to her.
We'll see in spring ball.
Else.
You know what I mean? It can't be that. It's just, it can't.
Cannot. It will be interesting if anything new that involves this story or is pertinent to this incident report happens, then we'll address it. If not, probably not going to talk about it again.
I know that we don't really use the daily confidence meter for basketball, but you had said something along the lines of 95% about our game against Tech tonight.
Well, I was really caught up in the emotion after the big win against Virginia Tech. But I will tell you that I still say it's over 80. It's certainly over 80.
Okay. How do you feel about Saturday? Again,
well, that's a little different deal. That's a 55-45 deal.
That's where you were before. All right, so we have consistency there.
Yeah, that's a 50. Miami's good. I can't ignore that Miami can play a little bit. If they'll have a say in the matter. If Florida State plays their best game against Georgia Tech and Georgia Tech plays their best game against Florida State, Georgia Tech wins rather handily. I mean, Florida State wins rather handily. Sorry. Yeah, sorry about that. Florida State wins rather handily if that happens. If those rarely does, but if it does, Florida State wins the game. If Miami plays their best game and Florida State plays their best game, it's coming down to the wire.
Could be free throws.
Yeah, it's coming down. That's right. It's coming down to the wire. So that's why you look at it a little different. That's what that is.
Can't let the little guy run around the TLC on Saturday.
That guy's annoying.
Yeah, he is.
I don't
like playing odd job in GoldenEye.
It's funny when you're little yourself, when you're growing up and you're playing basketball in, say, middle school, the way I was, or whatever it might be. You love looking at the guys that defy logic. The Spud Webbs of the world, the Muggsy Bogues of the world, maybe even as an adult. I don't know. When you get older and your team is not made up of leprechauns and you have real life, big, lengthy basketball players who affect shots and get above the rim and make plays in thunderous fashion and lead to the excitement of the game, and you've efforted to recruit those kinds of players to your university and pry them away from the likes of Kentucky and UCLA and North Carolina and Duke, you get annoyed by some little shrimp running around crazy that you can't get a handle on. That's me.
That's true. It's like Wake's quarterback this year. We won that game. Look at this little guy. What are you doing?
You've got no business, sir.
You're breaking out of tackles and throwing the ball 30 yards down the field.
I should admire your heart and your toughness and your willingness to get out there and lay it all on the line despite your short stature, but I don't.
And though Tommy Tuberville does on this broadcast team.
Boy, does he.
Oh, my.
Can't stop talking about how amazing it is you've overcome these odds.
Yeah. I see you. But I don't like you.
I don't. I see, no. You go pester people in some other conference with some other also ran like Kentucky. Yes, you're in our way, and it's getting annoying.
Go drop 60 on Duke. Just go away today.
Yeah, I don't need you this time around. Sure. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough, I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
Business phone system on your mobile phone. Choose a business phone number, make calls, and send texts. Stay connected and work from anywhere with features like Wi-Fi calling and our desktop app. Set up your account in minutes with no long-term contracts and 24/7 customer support. Make your small business big. Now get $20 off your first month when you visit grasshopper.com/radio. That's grasshopper.com/radio.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan. As most of you know, it's that time of year again. Tax refund time. What does that mean for all of us? It means that every single car dealer in town will be trying to shout the loudest for you to bring in your tax refund. Bring in your W-2s, and they will put you in a car. A used car that is nothing like what you really want. Well, guess what? Kraft Nissan's New For You program is an absolute game changer. We don't need your tax return. We don't need to see your W-2. And absolutely the best of all, we will not sell you an overpriced used car. And that is exactly why at Kraft Nissan, we call it the New For You program. We will plug your information into our system, which approves 4 out of 5 people with damage credit, and at the end of the day, you will drive away in a brand new Nissan, with or without a tax refund. You know the deal. Recently divorced? No problem. Recent bankruptcy? No problem. Credit score under 600? No problem. And it's not tied to taxes. Come see how easy it is for you to drive away in a new Kraft Nissan. And remember, if you don't see the Kraft tag in your car, you paid too much. Way too much. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco.
Get to JCPenney for the best winter deals around. Come in now to get the things you want and need from an unbeatable selection of the brands you love. Beat the cold weather with 50 to 80% off clearance items like apparel for the family and items to refresh your home. Plus, download the JCPenney app today and never miss a deal. Find what you need for the prices you love anytime you want. Hurry in, 50 to 80% off clearance and soon. JCPenney. Selections vary by store while supplies last. Savings off regular and original prices. Intermediate markdowns may have been taken. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer.
Nice Tire and Auto, just minutes away from FSU campus.
Ace is the place with the helpful hardware, folks.
Thanks to you, Ace was awarded its 11th straight J.D. Power Award for customer satisfaction with home improvement retail stores. To say thanks, we're giving you 20% off throughout the store. And as always, the help is free. So hurry into your local Ace and save 20% on select items this Friday through Sunday only. Offer valid for Ace Rewards members only at participating stores. Additional conditions and exclusions apply. See store for details. For J.D. Power Award information, visit jdpower.com.
Are you ready to experience an awesome fishing expedition? Sea Quarters Marina is home to several great charter services. All charters are customized based upon the types of fishing opportunities available and the type of fishing the customer requests. The Northwest Gulf Coast offers a variety of different angling adventures thanks to unspoiled back county islands and crystal clear flats. For more information regarding charters, call Sea Quarters Marina at 697-8400 or online at seaquartersmarina.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show. Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
So it was interesting yesterday, or this morning. Yeah, it was this morning. I saw where somebody on my Twitter feed had noted that this seemed like a Seminole Headlines question or something that we would talk about. But, Tom, I didn't know what it was they were referencing. And just now during the break, for the first time today, I had an opportunity to look at this. And it's another one of these ridiculous questions where you pick two of something. And, you know, it's like, you remember the huge horses and the small.
Yeah, ducks.
Yeah, and all that.
Yeah.
It's one of those type things. So, but.
Horse-sized ducks or
horse-sized ducks, duck-sized horses, right,
yeah.
all that. So here's the deal. Somebody put up a chart, and I'm going to be honest with you. I hadn't looked at it till now during the break, and I'm looking at it, and I'm going to honestly find myself, I think, stuck in a rut thinking about this for much of the day.
I think there's a joke to it. I'm not sure.
Is that correct?
I thought I saw in this chain, which I did not actually see the root of the chain, that somebody said they wasted a few minutes of their life, but then they figured it out. So I don't know if there's actually a real answer to it or if it's like a joke or something.
Oh, well, I have no idea.
I don't know if there's a double entendre. I really don't know.
Well, listen, I'm looking right now, and I'm not seeing that. I'm just seeing what they're asking here on the surface. Well, okay, so I'm going to ask you surface level.
All right.
I've scrolled down enough to know that I don't think we're getting played.
Okay.
So there's a sniper, it looks like. You get a sniper, but you only get one of them. All right,
Okay.
So here's the deal, all right? Pick two is, so I'm going to paint the picture for our listeners. It says pick two. And then they have a picture with 9 photos. And those photos represent, in some cases, animals or a number of animals, right? In the center is one sniper. So you can get one sniper, and then you got to add to your list if you want to go somewhere else. So you could get 2 lions times 4. You could get 5 gorillas. I'm seeing there. Silverbacks, the big ones. Remember those? I mean, those guys are monsters.
Mm-hmm.
Are you looking at this picture now?
I'm looking now.
You could get the 1,000 rats. So you could get 2,000, right?
Right.
2 bears times 3. 10 crocs is what I think you get. 10 of them.
Right, but you could pick two different categories,
Two different
right?
categories. Yes, yeah. And so then the rest are coming at you. Nobody's taking those water buffalo, I got to tell you.
Yeah, no.
And I don't think anybody's taking those eagles. Are you taking the eagles? Because you can get 50 or 100, I guess, eagles if you wanted to put it all there.
I don't.
You think this is bad? You think this is
no, I mean, they would need to be perfully trained. And
You're not going to get that. I'm telling you now, I think you got to take the gorilla back, the silverback gorillas,
This
right?
is funny.
You have to. Don't you have to take them? Okay, so it says pick 2. They will defend you. The rest is coming to kill you.
Right. Okay.
So there are wolves. There's a 15-pack of wolves you could go with.
Mm-hmm. I got to say that I'm looking at, I think 4 lions would be good to start with.
I'm going with 4 lions all damn day. But now they
but
gotta
if a
take
sniper
on-
is coming to get you, like,
Yeah,
what-
you got a problem.
You
right
have
there.
to take a sniper.
You got to
right?
take a sniper.
Yeah.
The sniper Well, there are a lot of scenarios. They got to be able to get up in a tree. He needs time to reload.
How far away are these other animals?
Right.
When
How
we
close
start the game,
are they when they're
you know?
coming?
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you now, a sniper could take out crocs from a distance, and they get nowhere near you.
Right. But if
he's got to kill the wolves too quickly.
if it's 50 feet, shoot.
Oh God! If it's 50 feet, I've got lions in the
Let's just say
gorilla
you
bags.
take 2 snipers and you got 50
You're
feet
not
of
gonna
space.
get it done. You're
you
gonna
got,
die.
You got 15 wolves
No,
and 4
you're
lions.
gonna die. The bears are coming. No, you can't live. You're gonna die. We've largely ignored these rats. That is a teeming number. I mean, that's 1,000 rats.
Yeah, but the rats, if you took 2,000 of them.
It's 10,000 rats. It's not 1,000.
Oh, it's 10,000.
It's 10,000
Oh, my
rats. 10,000 rats. Maybe you got to have 10,000 rats. You think 10,000 rats could protect themselves against 5 gorillas?
Probably.
You think 5,000?
But it's not just the gorillas. You have a sniper out there, too. Like, I think you have to take a sniper.
Well, listen. History has taught us you need a gun.
Right.
I mean, what I mean is if you're taking over civilizations, land, whatever it might be.
Oust a leader of some sort.
Right.
Yeah.
The gun it needs to be in your favor.
Well, you can't have them against you. It's almost like addition by subtraction.
You read the book Guns, Germs, and Steel?
No.
It's incredible. I have it. I'll bring it in for you.
Okay.
It's incredible. But it's
talks about assassinations and different methods.
No, it talks it's the history of everything. Guns, germs,
everything.
And Steel. How we're here and how nations were formed and all that other
God.
stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
It's awesome.
But I think you need not have the sniper against you because you can have any and all of these animals on your team. But if you have a sniper,
one shot, you're done.
One shot, you're done.
You could hide behind the gorillas and the wolves.
Yeah,
and
but
bears. Those are grizzlies.
What if one sneezes and it bends over for a second? Boom, you're done.
You're done, right?
Yeah.
So you got the sniper, and now you get one. You get 4 lions, or you got 5 gorillas. You're taking 10,000 rats. I don't think those rats feel like these have to be angry, coming for your rats. Like they got to really be willing to get after it for you. Because then, 10,000 of them, that's a lot.
The problem,
sheer numbers.
like
It's like
the
insects.
falcons or whatever those are,
Those are eagles.
Eagles? All right.
Those don't do you any good.
Yeah, but now
we're assuming that every one of these groups, these pods, these of animals, understand the game as well.
Well, sure.
They have to be
But if you
willing
have 50 flying creatures coming at you and you have a
That's tough.
sniper and 10,000 rats, I mean, you're kind of the rats don't do any good. So you need the sniper really to carry his weight
to take out the eagles.
Right. And while he's doing that, you need the 10,000 rats to hold
that's
it down.
actually, by the way, that's interesting though. What if you took the 50, because that's 50 eagles, it's not a eagle. So if you took
50.
If you took 50 eagles and 10,000 rats and let your competition have 2 of the others, let's say they chose sniper and crocs or snipers and grizzly bears.
Yeah, but the rest are coming to get you. That's the game.
Oh, that's true. It is the rest, isn't it? So 4 lions and 15 wolves.
Yeah.
So those eagles are of no use against 4 lions. And although there's 50 of them, imagine 50 or 25 of those eagles swooping down on those lions. They got talons, and they would be annoying, and they would distract the lions.
Yeah.
And they could really do some damage. But could 25 of those eagles do much damage to 15 wolves? Wolves aren't having it, and they're smart, and they hunt in packs, and they are really vicious.
I think you'd lose probably 2 to 3 eagles per wolf, right?
Eagles, I mean, they get away.
Yeah.
They're hopping around. I don't know.
I don't know.
The
It depends if
ability
the
to-
wolves
the
are
problem is-
working together. Are they staying in a pack and working together? Because
That's what they do.
makes things more difficult, right?
What's really difficult, too, is imagine this, though. Those eagles, they come down there. Now, let's say they're able to avoid wolves' mouths and avoid death. They don't get snatched out of the sky. They're not exactly they're not killing machines against something as big as a wolf. So a wolf is going to live for a while. What if the wolf just bucks up and decides to put its head down and continue to charge towards you no matter the threat of the eagles coming down and trying to peck at him and stuff or whatever they would be doing with their talons?
I like the lack of respect that the crocodiles and the water buffalo
I got no
are getting
time
here.
for it. Water buffaloes, what are we doing here? They're giant, and they're not to be toyed with in the real world. But in this game, really, what are we doing? You get 7 of them, I might add. But the crocs are, if we're in water, you got the crocs all day. Got to have it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're done dealing. But,
Yeah, but,
if you're telling
you
me
know.
we're just on land, I'm not worried about these crocs. I'm definitely
that does matter greatly, doesn't it, though?
If we're not in their environment.
But if we're in the water, like what good do the rats do you? The rats are no good.
If we're in the water, the first and only thing you take, I'd take 20 Crocs. Bring it on, bitches. I got 20 Crocs.
Yeah, if you got scuba gear, so you can stay away from
I'll
the sniper.
stay underwater and let my 20 Crocs go to war.
Because the sniper is there, and he'll just pick you off. I think you have to take the sniper, and then from there, it's about opinion.
Once again, it's good to have a gun on your side, but I don't...
But listen, again,
it's to ignore 10,000 rats, too.
Well, how much space do you have?
Numbers. I don't know. The details of this game
is
are
the
shaky.
Game over?
We need to know where we are.
Is the game over if you're gotten, right?
Yeah.
So the sniper could
dead.
presumably get you first before any of these other creatures arrive. And then the game's over. The sniper wins.
The rats can't protect you from the sniper. I need to know the distance at the start of the game. I need to know the terrain. I need to know how long the game lasts. How long do I have to keep this going? Is it until all parties have
Is that even a sniper, or is that a guy with...
Because if that's a shotgun or just a plain...
That just kind of looks like an old-school rifle.
Yeah, if that's not a real sniper. If it's a sniper, obviously you trust that he's going to make do with his shot. If it's just some dude holding a rifle...
It's a guy looking down the barrel, but I don't really see a scope or anything.
Yeah, I don't know.
I may have to rule him out.
Yeah, I'm really already in favor, if we're on land, of making sure I have 5 silverbacks. Have you ever seen gorillas up close? They're unbelievable. It's not to be messed. You got 5 of those, and you have 4 lions.
I'd almost want 5 of those and the 15 wolves. It's a nice combo.
It is a good
you got
combo.
agility
the 15
and brute
wolves
strength.
could kill. But the problem is they're having to kill simultaneously the bears and the lions. So we've carried on for far too long.
No, we haven't. No, I'm going to be thinking about this all day.
The rest of the evenings. Jeff Cameron Show, 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Sorry, boys, I did not have time to pack.
We got this. It's right here, guys. We got this.
I thought I could handle it.
We got this.
Moving doesn't have to be a hassle. Call us first at 2 Men and a Truck. No matter the move, home or business, we'll make it a smooth one.
I forgot something.
We got this.
When you're in need of auto repairs, look no further than Nice Tire and Auto Service. Nice has been in business for 16 years with long-term, knowledgeable sales associates. They have the latest wheel balancing machine in the industry. And for passenger vehicles, they service AC, brakes, suspension, tune-ups, and much more. Never sit through a long wait. Nice Tire and Auto has 10 service bays to get you back on the road quickly. If you have tire problems, check out their large inventory with various Goodyear and Michelin tires. Nice Tire and Auto Service, 4792 Bluntstown Highway, 574-4100.
I'm talking tough, like a state of mind. Tough, like a soldier on the front line. Tough when it gets rough, like my Ford truck. Always enough. I'm talking tough.
Franklin Spring Creek Ford, the place to find your next truck in southern Georgia.
I'm talking tough.
Hey y'all, we're Chris and Preston from Low Cash. Head to Franklin Spring Creek Ford and see them about all of your vehicle needs.
You can register online, go to Facebook, type in 2018 Trent Trot. Support this race and help a local child leave cancer in the dust.
Hi, Chris Kraft for Kraft Nissan, and it gives me great pleasure to announce that Kraft Nissan has been designated by Thanks a Bunch, a nonprofit 501c3 military charity, as Tallahassee's exclusive Hero Appreciation dealer. Kraft Nissan will be honoring all of our friends and neighbors who are active and retired military, as well as all area first responders, including police, firefighters, and paramedics, now through Wednesday, January 31st, by giving away free $50 gift cards to these American heroes. These gift cards are good at over 25,000 restaurants nationwide and over 40,000 online choices. So please come to Kraft Nissan now through the end of the month for our first ever Hero Appreciation Week. And because this is a very heartfelt week for us, Kraft Nissan will offer the best deals on all of our new and used cars and trucks to all of our customers during this event. But just for joining us, Kraft Nissan will give a free $50 gift card to a local military or first responder with no purchase necessary. Kraft Nissan on Mahan Drive between Academy Sports and Costco. See dealer for details. Some conditions apply.
Don't just listen to The Jeff Cameron Show. Watch it live. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Live weekdays 3 to 6 p.m. Head to ESPNTallahassee.com today to watch live or catch up on demand. The Jeff Cameron Show Streamcast. Brought to you by Nice Tire and Auto, your trusted Goodyear dealer. 574-4100. And presented by TNT Supercenter in Thomasville, Georgia. And Franklin Spring Creek Ford.
Get to JCPenney for the best winter deals around. Come in now to get the things you want and need from an unbeatable selection of the brands you love. Beat the cold weather with 50 to 80% off clearance items like apparel for the family and items to refresh your home. Plus, download the JCPenney app today and never miss a deal. Find what you need for the prices you love anytime you want. Hurry in, 50 to 80% off clearance ends soon. JCPenney. Selections vary by store while supplies last. Savings off regular and original prices. Intermediate markdowns may have been taken. Some exclusions apply. See store or jcp.com for details.
Woohoo! Banditos!
Huh? Where?
Banditos burritos, baby.
This Day in Sports, brought to you by Superlube. Superlube, 19 Tallahassee area locations. Quick, convenient, no appointment necessary.
This Day in Sports History.
January 24th, 1962. Jackie Robinson was joined by Bob Feller as he became the first African-American baseball player elected into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. Of course, Jackie Robinson is most known for breaking baseball's color barrier, but he also won Rookie of the Year and an MVP award in his career.
ESPN Radio Sports Center.
I'm Kevin Winter. A story we continue to follow on Sports Center. Disgraced former Michigan State and Team USA Dr. Larry Nassar has been sentenced to 40 to 175 years in prison, all part of his plea deal on multiple counts of sexual abuse. This after 7 days of victim impact statements read by more than 150 women. Judge Rosemarie Acalina handed down the sentence and told Nassar, quote, "I just signed your death warrant." She also told Nassar, "You don't ever deserve to walk outside of a prison again because everywhere you go, destruction will occur." Now, more fallout. First, last night, the NCAA informed Michigan State University they're opening an investigation as to whether any violations occurred in their dealings with Nassar. And shortly after the sentencing was handed down today, the CEO of the United States Olympic Committee called for all current USA Gymnastics directors to resign in the wake of sentencing. Tallahassee police responding to an alleged domestic violence incident involving Florida State quarterback DeAndre Francois. No charges have been filed.
To win in basketball, you got to play great coverage. And with Straight Talk Wireless, you know you're getting great coverage because they use the exact same 4G LTE towers as the big carriers, but for a lot less. Straight Talk Wireless, only at Walmart. Refer to terms and conditions of service at straighttalk.com.
This is the Jeff Cameron Show on 97.9 ESPN Radio.
Too much beer. They'll be tipping it off at the TLC Double C momentarily. I say momentarily. It's an hour from now, but I am excited about the Noles' opportunity to get back to 4-4, 500 in the ACC with a home victory tonight. If they get it, would be tough to stomach loss. I'll refrain from saying disastrous or end of the season, but it wouldn't be a good look, and it certainly would call into question their ability to make the tournament. And you don't want to call that into question. You don't want to have that conversation. Those aren't fun conversations to have. I rather enjoy the conversations that are spoken with great assurance that a team is or is not going to do something that we want them to do. And in this case, I want them to make the NCAA tournament.
No more questions. No more questions. As they said in high school, pencils down.
Yeah, that's
no
it.
more. We're
that's
done.
That's it. No. You get to 15-5, 4-4 in the ACC. That's got a good sound to it. 15-5. 4-4 in the ACC.
Oh, yeah.
With a win over North Carolina.
Yeah, 15-5.
Yeah,
I like
got a good sound to it.
Well, that was kind of like when we were playing Virginia Tech, and it was either 14-5 or 13-6. I mean, you know, there is a
difference.
gulf between those two things.
Yeah, huge difference.
Oh, my.
By the way, oddly enough, tonight's opponent, Georgia Tech, I will tell you, has the same set of circumstances in that Georgia Tech, you are what you are. Embrace it. You know what best, I think, illustrates what you are? Not 10-9, but 10-10. 10-10 sounds exactly like what you are, Georgia Tech. So does 3-4 in the conference. Not 3-3, not 4-3, 3-4. 3-4 sounds like what you should be, as well as 10-10 on the season. Not dreadful, but certainly not good. Not the caliber of team that should be walking into the TLC Double C and walking out with a victory. No, you don't strike me as that club. You strike me as the 10-10 Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets, 3-4 in the conference.
Well, and to Vegas as well, as you stated before, double-digit dogs for tonight are the visiting Yellow Jackets. So at least that's the way it opened. Now, I don't know if the Lions have been seeing a lot of action here. If people are degenerately jumping on college basketball saying, hey, that looks a little loose there, that line.
You know, this is the segment of the show where sometimes we'll engage my alter ego. Big Daddy J had another winning night last night.
That's right, Red Russians.
Red Russians for all, as I noted. This is why, friends, if you're a degenerate and you have a pattern, you go all in. You don't have time to quibble. You decide on a given night that it looks to you with the naked eye and matchup-wise like a night for overs. Well, you don't BS around. You go all over in every single contest. If there are, in fact, 12 games to be played, those are 12 overs that you're playing.
Yeah.
And Big Daddy J did it at $100 a pop. So what happens in a given night? Is you make 200 bones by the going of the over.
My goodness.
I knew I couldn't lose.
100 potato chips, right?
Of course, not real money. But so you just have a profitable.
Is that 100 potato chips, though?
Yeah. So that's a profitable Tuesday, Tom. That is 200 potato chips on a Tuesday because you got a system. Because you got a system. That's how it works.
Yeah, you're preaching.
Sometimes you lose 200 potato chips. Very rarely you lose 800-900 potato chips, but that's the game. Sometimes you walk out on a Tuesday with 900 bags of potato chips.
Oh, my goodness.
That, too, is the game. You don't get too high with the highs, too lows with the lows.
Yeah, and then you've had 7 room temperature Coca-Colas with room temperature vodka poured to mix it all together, make it magic.
And the Red Russian evening is underway, and the employees celebrate because a big tip's coming.
How big is the glass and or cup mug for?
It's 12 ounces.
It's a 12. Okay,
it's a 12
standard.
A standard glass.
Well, there's no ice to take up space, so that makes a ton of sense. Yeah,
12 ounces of Big Daddy J, Red Russian loving.
As Big Daddy J always says, leave the ice to the hockey players.
That's right. That's right. Whom we have the over with tonight, ladies and gentlemen. That's correct. Yes. Now, I haven't checked Wednesday's slate, which is very strange for Big Daddy J, not to have taken a look at the ice after the big win for the Lightning last night that Tom Lang said could not happen. I have yet to go back and check the numbers for this evening's games. I'm certainly excited about the winnings.
Man, it was 2-2 after one, and Tampa's backup goaltender held it together because we didn't show up. Yeah, we didn't show up for the first 10, 12 minutes there.
We were terrible.
Oh, man.
We were terrible. Hold. Hey, with a win tonight, Florida State basketball, there you go, would go to 4-4 in the ACC, and that would put them a couple games back of third place. That's what I'm just saying. Things are coming together, Tom Lang. Things are working together.
Things are looking up.
The choo-choo would find itself in a good position with a win tonight. But this is where I get a little because
it's all out right there in front of you.
All right there.
Yeah.
It's there for the taking. It's ripe for the picking. That's what you got. You win tonight. You're 500 in the ACC. You have 15 wins. You'll be on a nice little 2-game win streak with a home game coming up, a chance to avenge a loss to your rival, and your RPI currently sits at a nice 41.
Yeah, this is where my Little League coach, Joe, this was his favorite circumstance.
It's right there for the taking.
Right, when you were doing situationals on infield drills and what base to throw to. Yeah. Plays right in front of you. Plays right in front of you.
They're giving you an out.
Right, yeah.
Got to make that play.
Yep.
Well, there is nothing more aggravating than when a team offers up a sacrifice and ends up safe. That's not good. They're giving you an out. You got to make that play and take that out.
Well,
they're offering up the out. in exchange for something else. You go ahead and get that out when they're giving it to you. You don't execute, you're asking to lose. Florida State doesn't execute tonight at home against a team that is inferior.
Yeah.
They're asking not to make the tournament.
If I recall this circumstance, it was runner on second, nobody out. And so if he goes too far off the bag, plays right in front of you, if you're at short. If you're at short, plays right in front of you.
Right there.
Right. Either you take the lead man if he gets a little squirrely.
That is true.
Or then you just throw across the diamond and you get your first out of the inning and runner on second. Plays right in front of you.
To be noted, did you watch any basketball last night at all, namely the first place Virginia Cavaliers?
No, I saw that final score, and I thought, my God, to be a Clemson fan last night. How long did you last before turning it off?
I didn't last long. I turned it off quickly, but I will tell you that, it's hard to like Virginia. They're just so good right now, and well-coached and dapper as he is, Bennett just runs a very buttoned-up system that they execute to a T, and sometimes you'll see a team score, like Clemson did, 36 points at the John Paul Jones. Not what we do in this day and age. This is a game played by grown men, athletic even. 36 points in a college basketball game played by men? What are we doing here?
Yeah, don't crack the 40 plateau.
That is a damn embarrassment for the ages, Clemson.
Not scoring
36 points.
Not scoring a point a minute.
The 36 points scored by Clemson are the fewest scored by any team in Division I basketball this year. Nobody has been as futile as the Clemson Tigers in a singular game as they were last night.
And they're top 20 as they're playing that game.
Get the hell
they're
out of here.
They're not RPI 320.
Fraudulent goats. Fraudulent. Yeah, I mean, the fraudulent goats come flocking at that point. They surround the John Paul Jones as Clemson players try to get to their bus.
When's the last time you broke out the goats?
Do we even have the goats around? We need to go get them. I don't remember. Yes! Fraudulent goats. Nibbling at the heels of Clemson fans and players everywhere. Oh, quick, get off these fraudulent goats. They're nipping at me. Oh, Mary, get the car. Our performance tonight has brought out the goats. They're nippers. Goats are freaking awesome. Right up there with the sloth. Goats are about my favorite thing, man. That is. Listen to those damn goats. They're ridiculous.
I always like ducks.
I like ducks.
Ducks are awesome.
They waddle.
Yeah, but they're friendly,
They can be.
Yeah.
They're not, they won't let you love on them. Goats will let you pet
them. Like, what's up, man?
Yeah.
What's up, man?
He's like,
got any crumbs?
I'm
Look at that, it's crumb.
Who's got it?
I'm going to jab at this crumb.
I like it.
And now it's gone.
Yeah, just like that. I like crumbs. So there will be 3 other ACC games tonight. Louisville traveling to Miami. That's a good game. Real good game.
Yeah.
And at the ESPN Executive Suite, as sponsored by our friends at Corner Pocket.
That's right.
You could be flipping that game on the tube at the same time that we're taking out Georgia Tech.
You're saying parallel game times and concurrent
Well,
tip-offs.
it's an 8 p.m. tip for Louisville and Miami, so you'll be all right there.
Well, we do have 2 televisions at the ESPN Tallahassee Corner Pocket Executive Suite. So,
I'll tell you 2 games you don't want to watch. Boston College is going to go to Syracuse, which, okay. But I'm not going to watch that, obviously. And NC State is taking on the doormat known as Pitt. Pitt is 0-7, 0-3 at home, 0-4 on the road. They've lost 7 in a row. They have an RPI of 159. They're 8-12 on the year. There was a time. There was a time where it was a different, as Jimbo would say.
And there was physicality.
There was something a little bit to that Pitt program. It's now all gone.
Yeah, there may not be, 45% shooting. Not even then.
No.
But you know what they would do? They would thunder at least 2 or 3 times a game. And you go, good Lord, these guys are imposing.
Yes, no longer.
Yeah.
No longer imposing.
Is that BC-Syracuse game at 7 o'clock?
The BC-Syracuse game is being played. I don't know. I didn't look.
Okay, sorry.
No, I got the 8 p.m. game with Louisville and Miami. That's really the one you want to watch.
Ask Siri real quick.
Yeah, go ahead. Say it out loud. Let's see what happens.
Okay.
Go ahead. This is riveting.
What time is the Boston College game tonight? She's thinking. Oh, great. She
doesn't know. Do I? Oh.
She apologized. Did you hear that? I hope you could.
Did. I'm going to do this on mine now. Here,
did
this
not
is
know
really good
that.
at the end of the show here.
Try Syracuse.
Siri, what time does the Boston College Syracuse basketball game begin? She said 7 o'clock.
Oh, okay, but she didn't actually
verbalize it. She just said, "Oh,
so
here,
she knew.
I got you,
Boy.
She got. I'm showing you there's the camera there.
Okay,
she got it.
My Siri is,
but
she responded verbally, but she didn't know the
she
answer.
was apologizing profusely. Mine was just like, here you go.
I caught her sleeping.
I got you right here.
I am so sorry.
There you go.
Could you please repeat the question?
I'm so sleepy. I've got to get some coffee in me. I'll find that out for you. You don't have your mic on. Nobody can hear you.
I didn't want to ask it twice in the mic.
Syracuse meets Boston College at 7 p.m.
Oh, she's like, I got it.
Okay, yeah.
I got it. All right. Well, I saw where Jeff Siri got it. I got to get on the block. Get on the road here.
She's Australian Siri. Exotic.
So you can do that? You can.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to do that then.
It's my Kylie Minogue Siri.
She's still super skinny?
I don't know.
She got too skinny for a long time there back in the 80s. I needed her to put some weight on. That's just me. To each his own. Maybe she liked being that skinny.
As a kid, I watched Biodome, and I said, who is that?
Who is that fine-looking woman?
Oh, my goodness. More time for her, less time for Paulie.
It's a terrible movie. For Tom Lang, I'm Jeff Cameron. Good job, Matthew. Be well, everybody, and go Noles. Hopefully a choo-choo is forthcoming, and we will talk about, rightfully, like I said before, we'll be talking about the 15-5 and 4-4 in the ACC Noles tomorrow. And hopefully nothing more, because today had a little rocky road to it, didn't it? A little bit of sort of, what's going on here? I don't like these reports. At the same time, I don't know what's really going on, so it makes it difficult. So I don't like having to have those conversations. Those aren't good conversations. Front Row Noles, forthcoming. Great show. Stay tuned. My man, Tim Littefeld.